for Emu. And a whole lot of dribbling. And another steal. Kaiser at the half. And he buries it. How about that to roll into the locker room?
That was last night on the Big Ten Network. Jamie Kaiser with the halftime
There's
buzzer
Jamie
beater
Kaiser
from the
once
half
again
court.
getting into the gaps.
Maryland,
10 toes down right at the
not
half-court line. 0.4 on the clock. Lets it fly. The moon ball is pure.
I thought it was a non-zero chance they
right
might.
here and let you know
And obviously for the UMBC
that was a major
they're
triple.
quite disappointed by
5 to
I'm a
shoot for
UMBC
Emu.
person too, so
And a whole lot of dribbling. And another
conflict in
steal.
those situations. Like I love that when the local teams play against each other, that's great. And then I'm like, right, but then somebody's got to lose. I don't like that either. But Maryland beats UMBC 92-68 last night. And hopefully for Maryland over the next few weeks, they can try to figure some things out and improve offensively for when they get back into Big Ten, but actually into Big Ten play, which starts in just like 2 weeks. I believe they've got Indiana in their first Big Ten game here in December. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. Good to have you with us. Remember, we won't be doing a show tomorrow, but Reed and I will be together tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan, so spend part of your Thanksgiving with us. Also, we will be together on Friday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then there will be a show on Friday, but it's going to be weird. It's going to be a whole thing. We will have guests. We will do picks on Friday. We will get you the rest of the Tyus Bowser Show on Friday. We've got a lot to do on Friday, but it's going to be a little bit different. It will be live. Like there will be, if you tune in at 10 o'clock, there will be a show that will be happening. This is the first time we've tried something like this, so we'll see how it goes. So there'll be a lot of content this week despite the holiday. Just no Glenn Clark Radio tomorrow. On the program today, our friend Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports, will be joining us. Of course, the Ravens and Chargers, Sunday night on NBC. Also this morning, Cordell Woodland, our friend from 105.7 The Fan, will check in with us. And we're going to get to you, segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show from last night. Thanks to all of you who joined us. It was a great night. We were at Mother's North Grill in Timonium. Could not have had a better time. Appreciate everybody who came out. I know the weather was rough. Awful. I mean, just awful. So it's funny because we always do really well whenever we do a show in that area. And with Pat Ricard being a great guest, we were like, man, we could have a mob scene on our hands. And John Colson and I yesterday were like, the only thing – because like, we actually do get worried in some situations that the crowd is going to be too big. And we're going to have people that are unhappy because we have to cut it off at some point. Like we can't have Tyus and Pat there until 1 in the morning trying to take pictures and sign autographs for everybody. So we were like, oh, maybe the rain will save us. Maybe it'll be our saving grace. But we had a great crowd nonetheless, particularly given the weather. Thanks to everybody who came out. If you missed that one, shame on you. Next show is going to be 3 weeks from last night. So we're going to do a little bit of an odd schedule in December. So December 12th will be the next Tyus Bowser Show, and location to be determined because we had to move it. We're going to have to move locations as well, so bear with us. We got time. It's not until the 12th. We'll let you know in plenty of time for you to make your plans to come join us for the Tyus Bowser Show on December 12th. Hope that you can do that. Tyus Bowser Show is a partnership of Pressbox and Great 8's Memorabilia. It is brought to you by Superbook Sports, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, and AJ Michaels. And also this morning, in addition to segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show, back from the dead, rising from the grave, Kyle Ottenheimer. I can't believe we were able to book him. I can't believe it. I figured that he would be very busy doing the national rounds. I'm guessing that today he probably did both McAfee and Pardon My Take and at least one of the sports centers, correct?
Like Get Up or something. Yeah, I think that's where he.
Rome probably. Dan Patrick, if I had to guess.
He's got time for all that.
Somehow we managed to get him nonetheless. Somehow we were able to squeeze into his busy schedule. Kyle Ottenheimer will be here, and okay, you said he's picking up the food.
Correct.
Do we trust that? Or
I mean, yeah, he's an adult.
I'm very worried that we're gonna look back on this and say, this is where you screwed up.
Oh, yeah.
that he's going to, like, go to one McDonald's and they're not going to have something, and he's just going to bail. Like, he's just going to say, well, I tried. I couldn't get it, so he's going to get something else and just say, well, that's what we're going to do. And I'm very worried about that. I need there to be a reminder. Glenn said, if for some reason they don't have it, we're not doing something else. Got to find it. And this is why I'm nervous about this. This is what producing has to look like this. He wouldn't know, despite all the years that he was the producer. He's out now, so he doesn't care about the quality. It's not his concern any longer. But Kyle's allegedly going to be in studio with us, and he and Griffin, who lost our side bet on picks last week, will be paying off that side bet by enjoying a Jameson Williams burger, Oreo McFlurry on a McDonald's double cheeseburger. And I think they're spitting in the face of God, frankly, when they do that. Don't we have that clip? We got to get better at this.
Yeah.
We got to lock it up with the clips. Of all the things that we got to improve on, I don't know. There's too many things.
It's like slapping God across the face for giving you a gorgeous gift.
We're really good at doing things 30 seconds later.
It's like 20 seconds.
After I brought it up, after I had to remind you that that's what we should be doing, we gotta be thinking.
I know. It's
on our feet a little bit more. We'll get there eventually.
I'm two in the moment.
Right by the time that Griffin's moved on to his next job, he'll have really figured it all out. Right in that moment. And then it'll take us 5 years with the next guy. And then I'll be dead. So
that's it?
I think if I'm lucky, if I somehow manage to push it off that long, that'll be a victory. All right, so all that coming up on the program today. I obviously I did not watch the Maryland game last night because I was doing the Tyus Bowser Show. There's not really much that you can say about a game against UMBC anyway, other than if you only care about Maryland and not about UMBC, you're just glad that it didn't continue to go the other way. You're just glad that it isn't full-on free fall. And perhaps you're hoping that, as I mentioned, they could stockpile some results and get things turned around. There is still a lot of season to be played. Also news from yesterday. Kyle Gibson will not be back with the Baltimore Orioles. Kyle Gibson is going back to St. Louis. I don't think there was a role for Kyle Gibson next season with the Orioles. It's such a complicated conversation talking about Kyle Gibson. Because the innings thing was real-ish, right? It wasn't Jordan Lyles. There were plenty of starts where you're like, dude, the least that you should be giving this team is innings. Like, the least they should be able to get from you is 7 innings, even if you get your butt kicked. And you didn't always get that. But you still got innings. Like, you still got to the end of the year, and you're like, all right, well, he did do that. He certainly had moments, and he was obviously a very likable guy who got it, who got his role within the community, who embraced being here. When he was on with us, he talked about how he was having more fun than he had had anywhere in his career, all of those things. And you're appreciative of that. That doesn't make up for what he wasn't, but you can appreciate those things and say, it was a good thing. You could have had something worse than that, right? Like, it could have been a bigger issue, say, Jack Flaherty. I think our emotions about Kyle Gibson are different than they are about Jack Flaherty, that shouldn't be the bar, but it's worthy of the conversation. I don't think there was any reason why the Orioles should have brought back Kyle Gibson. The danger is, what if they somehow do worse than Kyle Gibson? That's the difficult part about this conversation, is that it's easy for me to say, hey man, thanks for the help, tip of the cap, appreciate you being a solid dude, but I think this is a good place for us to part ways. And that's the primary emotion that I felt yesterday. I said, yeah, that's about right. But the secondary part, and it's the difficult part about talking, I I feel bad that we have done such little free agent talk with the Orioles or off-season talk, but I think we all know the reason why. Because it's very difficult for me to believe there's actually going to be anything to discuss until I see it. I keep coming back to, I think they have to make a trade. I don't think they have a choice. I think they have to trade away some of the major league players that they have stuck in the minors at positions where there is no room for them to move up. Now, maybe they feel differently. Maybe in their world, they can trot this out for at least part of this year, knowing there might still be an injury or two that they have to deal with, and Connor Norby could be up because of that. Joey Ortiz. But in my world, I think they have to. They have to use that depth. They can't just continue to have Major League Baseball players playing in the minors for fun while they have weaknesses in other areas. What that trade will be, I don't know. But that's the only thing right now that I feel at least an amount of confidence that they're going to do. I have no confidence that they will otherwise be in on legitimate, sought-after free agents until they are. And maybe they will be. Maybe at some point we'll say, wow. But until that's the case, I don't even know what it's worth for me to talk about specific guys. I know Stan's in love with Justin Turner. I'm very indifferent towards Justin Turner. It's just fine. Fine.
Right-handed bats don't excite me that much anymore.
I'm not saying no.
Right.
Sure. I mean, figure it out. Do it and add another bat. But I don't think that's solving the Orioles' biggest issues. I think they need to address certain things. And to me, they need to address swimming above Kyle Gibson in terms of starting pitching. That, to me, is the problem here. That when I say, I'm okay with Kyle Gibson being gone, it's because if you're going to dip your toes in the starting pitching market, I would want it to be above the level you got from Kyle Gibson. But do I have confidence they're going to do that? How could I? Where would that confidence come from? I think we all feel a level of something about the idea of the top of the rotation next year involving all of Grayson Rodriguez, Kyle Bradish, and John Means. And that makes us say, okay, if those three guys are all healthy, ready to go for the start of the season, then you feel fairly good about your rotation. And if Dean Kramer is in your rotation again next year, it's not the end of the world to have Dean Kramer at the back end of your rotation. You can do way worse as a fifth starting pitcher than Dean Kramer. Now, I'm not saying Dean Kramer has to be. You couldn't possibly add another starting pitcher because you have to save a spot for Dean Kramer. I like Dean. But if you can do better, do better. But with those three guys, if Dean Kramer was number 5 and you simply added in one higher-end starting pitcher, you'd feel good to really good about next season. But where's it coming from? The danger is that you don't do better than Kyle Gibson. The danger is that they come back and they say, well, the cost of pitching was just crazy, guys. Which, of course, was what we always heard from Dan Duquette. This is ridiculous. Well, yes, that's the price of doing business. If you're going to be a Major League Baseball team, that's the way it works. It'd be like me saying to my kids, sorry, we can't have milk. Have you seen the cost of milk? I'm aware it sucks. But I'm a parent. I have to provide certain things for my kids. Although today I don't feel like it. They're a-holes. They had the day off from school, and I probably got 4 hours of sleep before they were in jumping on me. And I never got back to sleep. So I'm on one today. The danger is I think they could do worse than that. That they come away from this and say, well, we tried, we dipped our toes in the waters, but there was just nothing to be found. So, and I don't even know who I'm thinking of, but they trot out their bargain signing, a guy whose name you've heard of. You'd have to pull up the free agent starting pitching list in order to do this. And they say, well, this is who we were able to add to the rotation. And it's someone who's basically Kyle Gibson or not even as good as Kyle Gibson. And you kind of find yourself saying like, oh, right. Yeah, that's what it was always going to be, wasn't it? So it is a complicated conversation when it comes to Kyle Gibson.
Yeah, like a Michael Lorenzen. I don't know. He threw a no-hitter,
Yeah,
but
I
he
mean,
wasn't. But outside of the no-hitter, he was
not very good.
Not
right?
great.
Trying to think. I don't even know
Like-
what Michael Lorenzen's numbers were at the pool.
I think he had like a
hang
4+
hang
ERA. I can't remember.
on. What did they
I
give
might
up
have
for
even
him?
been-
Like that wasn't a worse trade than the Jack Flaherty trade, was it? He pitched
Transactions.
in Philadelphia. Michael Lorenzen made only 7 starts. Pitched to a 5.51 ERA.
With Philly.
Yeah, and a 1.458 WHIP. Now, for the total of the season, of course, including Detroit, where he was pitching well, and remember, we were inclined to be, we were interested in Michael Lorenzen. He finished with a 4.18 ERA and a 1.2 WHIP. And you say to yourself, like, oh, for the entirety of the season, those numbers are fairly good. And I don't know how I'd feel about Michael Lorenzen. I guess that would be an upgrade over Kyle Gibson. Like, I mean, it would. Like, if you got those numbers from Michael Lorenzen for the total of the season, definitely would be an upgrade over what you got out of Kyle Gibson last year.
Definitely bring Rich Hill back.
At, what is he, 50?
43. He'll be 44.
Yeah. Sure. And that could be your answer. And by the way, it could be. Which is the terrifying part about it. It could be. And that's the difficulty about the Kyle Gibson conversation. Is that I have no interest in trashing Kyle Gibson. I'm appreciative of the role that he played on a team that we will think of fondly for some time. At the same time, to me, Kyle Gibson was a disappointment. I don't expect a ton from him, but I don't think he was very good. Now, I get it. Not everybody is a top-of-the-rotation pitcher, and some guys are just pitchers, and they have some good starts, they have some bad starts.
Hyun-Jin Ryu is out there.
Sure. I mean, even he seems like he could still somehow get some money at this point.
I'm looking at the guys that are
I'm
under 10.
I'm worried that you're still like
These are too high. 'cause
that's
listed,
what I'm worried about.
They listed Lorenzen at about $9 million a year. Ryu is
Yeah.
at about 8.
Yeah.
Stroman is 15 for what it's worth.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
again, maybe, but until I see it, I don't believe that's happening. Who's in the $6 million range?
Let's see. Alex Wood.
Alex
$6 million.
Wood. Alex, what's the last thing that Alex Wood did?
He was with he had, I think, not this past season, but the season before, I think he had some pretty strong starts for the Giants.
It smells right. Like
Yeah.
that sounds vaguely familiar. No, actually,
Lucas-
the year before he was a disaster.
Oh, he was.
2021 is the year
Okay.
you're thinking. 2021, he went. He pitched to a 3.83 ERA and a 1.18 WHIP.
Lucas Giolito is 11.8, so too
Again,
rich.
Could it be? Sure. Should they be willing? Of course.
Brad Keller.
Do
is,
I believe it? I will believe it when I see it.
Brad Keller's 3.7 million.
Maybe Brad Keller ends up being the answer.
Zach Davies is 6 million.
Some history there, but
Yeah.
not a great guy.
Wade Miley, 8 million.
I can't believe Wade Miley's still a major league pitcher. Where was Wade Miley last year? I had no idea that Wade Miley
He
was
was
still in the
Milwaukee, I
swear to
think.
God, I did not know that Wade Miley.
He was
still
with
in the
Milwaukee.
Vegas. That is. How did I not?
Julio
know that?
Teheran is in the 6 million range.
Now we're just naming. Look, man, I get it. The joy of being what is this? This is the bit where guys can just
They're
sit
listing-
around and name sports people.
They're listing Syndergaard at 8 million.
Okay.
It's not good last year.
Wade Miley actually. Did you realize that Wade Miley last year pitched? Hang on a second.
He pitched good.
In 23 starts, there's only 120 innings, right? Like, he pitched only 120 innings last year, so I don't know where he is injury-wise. But he pitched to a 3.14 ERA and a 1.13 WHIP. I don't know what the story is on Wade Miley, baby. But that might be. Maybe the old reunion is afoot with Wade Miley.
Tommy Malone.
Sure, reunion afoot. Anyway, look, I've said my piece about we don't need to spend any more time talking about Kyle Gibson. He was a guy that was here for a year that was okay, but was also a good guy, and I certainly one of the veterans that had had a role in establishing the culture of this team. And I'm appreciative of that, and I wish him well. I hope the Orioles can do better than Kyle Gibson next year. I'm apprehensive. I'm apprehensive about discussing any of it because they have to prove that they actually will do that before I believe it. That's just the entirety of the conversation. So I'm sorry for those of you that have been like, hey, you kind of haven't even talked about the Orioles offseason. Well, when it becomes relevant, we will. That's just kind of the reality. When there is a relevant conversation to be had, we'll talk about the Orioles offseason. All right, today's show is brought to you by Superbook. Sign up right now at Superbook. Use the code GlennClark23, and when you do, you will receive up to $250 in a same-day first bet match, win or lose. Superbook.com. Download the Superbook app. Again, the code is GlennClark23. You get that same-day first bet match. The game's tomorrow. Right now, it's Lions minus 7.5 against the Packers team that's been playing well of late. I would probably be inclined to jump on the Pack. We're not going to pick the Thanksgiving games this week. I'd probably be inclined to sprinkle a little on the Packers tomorrow.
I saw a stat in Lions games on Thanksgiving Day in the past 16 years. I think favorites are 15-1 against the spread. But now the Lions are a favorite. They're three times the Lions have been a favorite. They're 3-0 the 3 times they've been a favorite in the last.
But also the Lions stunk for many of those years. I just don't know that I feel like the Packers deserve a little bit more credit for the way that they have played of late, and I think I'd be inclined to jump on that.
Cowboys don't play well on Thanksgiving. I might take
12.5 is the number there. I mean, they did just lose to the Giants at home, but they don't have to worry about their showers, I guess, tomorrow. 12.5 is the number there, and it's the 49ers minus 7 on the road in Seattle. Do we know about Geno yet for tomorrow night? I thought he was going to play. I thought that was the deal because he came back on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
I think he's going to play. It's an interesting number, minus 7 on the road for the 49ers on a short week. So those are the numbers. Use the code GlennClark23 when you sign up at Superbook.com. Download the Superbook app. Joining us now here on GCR, he is a buddy of ours. You hear him on 105.7 The Fan. He is Mr. Cordell Woodland, and he is back with us. What's going on, brother? How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, Glenn. Appreciate you having me.
Everything good, man? What's going on in your world? This will be the second Thanksgiving for your child, right?
It would actually be the first. He made it through the first Thanksgiving last year. So his birthday is on the 30th. So we got a lot of that going on. Birthday party this weekend, and just took some holiday pictures with him the other day. So. And he got blessed the other day, so it's all about Jackson this month.
Look at that! That's awesome, man. I love that, dude. That's very cool. All right, before we get into the Ravens, I know you had Mike Elias on your show. We were just having this conversation. I have no real emotions about Kyle Gibson departing because I would say, hey, probably a bit of a disappointment last season, but also was a veteran and played a role in the culture that was established and obviously was a great dude and did wonderful things, so I do appreciate that to some extent. What I said was, I think the Orioles should be doing better than Kyle Gibson. I'm just worried until I see that they do better than Kyle Gibson, that they're not going to do better than Kyle Gibson. And that's sort of the entirety of the way that I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the hope, right? I think that they're hoping to be able to do better than Kyle Gibson. And when I spoke with Mike Elias, he made it clear that they're looking for, rotation upgrades and back of the bullpen arms. Obviously, with Felix Bautista gone for the year due to that Tommy John surgery. So I just think the Kyle Gibsons and the Jordan Lyles of the world, I think the Orioles are out of that phase. They're out of that phase of trying to just bring in veteran guys to stabilize the rotation, to be that, emotional and vocal leader for their young pitchers in the clubhouse. I think now it's about winning it all. They won the American League East last year. They're first place in the American League. Obviously, getting swept to the Texas Rangers in the ALDS is not the way they wanted things to unfold. And nobody's blaming Kyle Gibson, obviously, but pitching was a big part of their problem in that series, among other things. So I think for them, they're just out here trying to get the best players that they can, that they can financially go after right now. Because obviously, when you're talking about the Orioles and bringing in new pieces, money is going to be a big part of that conversation. But Mike Elias definitely made it clear they're looking for pitching upgrade.
I guess and this is so Griffin was going over the list with me because admittedly I have not done a lot of Orioles offseason content only because, again, it's an I need to see it to believe it type of thing. But he brought up like Marcus Stroman, and who is this from? Whose projection was it?
Spotrac's.
Spotrac's projection was that he would get $15 million a year, and I'm like, I hate saying it. I don't believe that the Orioles will do. They have to prove to me that they would do that. Do you think that they will swim in the waters of $15+ million a year for a pitcher?
Oh, I mean, I can't definitively say that I believe it. I like you, I have to kind of see it to believe it. I imagine that their payroll will increase. How much? I'm not sure. They've got, at least in terms of positional players, they've got a nice amount of positional players already on this major league roster, already in their farm system. And Mike Elias made it clear he is not opposed to trading some of these prospects this offseason. They're going to be a little more aggressive and, trying to move some of these guys that he admitted is going to be tough to do because, they are somewhat attached to some of those guys in their minor league system. So I think they'll use some of that kind of ammunition to go out and maybe get some of these other guys available on the trade market. When it comes to the free agent guys that are going to be big money free agents, I just have a hard time imagining them going into those deep waters, the deep waters of really breaking the bank. It'd be great considering what the type of roster that they have, considering where they want to be, considering how their season ended this past year. But to be honest, those decisions go above Mike Elias, and the head man in charge hasn't given us a lot of confidence that he's willing to do that.
That's the reality. We are together. We are simpatico when it comes to this. All right, Cordell Woodland, 105.7 The Fan, with us here on GCR. Cordell, the story right now for the Ravens is Mark Andrews, and I guess I'll present it to you this way. What do you think this looks like moving forward? I don't think that anybody here is going to be Mark Andrews, but do you think it's a heavy dose of Isaiah Likely? Do you think it's a combination of Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kohler? Do you think this falls more on the wide receivers and that neither of these tight ends is likely to step up and be significantly different? What do you think this looks like as they try to replace one of the most important players on their roster?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, outside of Lamar, Mark Andrews is probably the least player that they could afford to lose. I think it's impossible to expect guys like Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kohler to replace Mark. They'll be able. You hope that that Isaiah Likely can at least give you something of what he gave you last year when he filled in for Mark Andrews. But this is a different offense, and Isaiah Likely has not looked very comfortable in this offense for the most part this year. Now, albeit even last year when Mark Andrews was there, you didn't really see a lot from Isaiah Likely. So maybe we will get to see that guy again now that Mark's gone. But I do anticipate more of the workload being put on the wide receivers. I think we'll start to see more 3, maybe even 4 wide receiver sets out there. I think that obviously they like Nelson Aguilar. He played well for them. Rashad Bateman, I think, is starting to heat up here over the last couple of weeks, finally finding the end zone on Thursday. And, Beckham and Lamar are really starting to cook over these last 3 games. So, and look, Jay is still a great talent. The targets for him have gone down, but now with Mark gone, you expect that to go up. So I think that they'll lean more on these wide receivers to make plays. I honestly do. And they'll sprinkle in Likely and Kohler in there as well. I would also kind of be on the lookout for Travis Vokolek down the line, especially if one of Likely or Kohler aren't producing to the way that Harvs would like.
I feel like we're in about the same place. You brought up Bateman. I think he's the biggest wild card in all of this, right? Like, because Cordell, you still see it in doses. You're like, he's got everything. Like, all of the skills are there. And I've been almost a bit surprised that this connection that he had established with Lamar Jackson that hasn't carried over. I feel like he's the ultimate wild card for third down, for red zone, trying to replicate some of the things that Mark Andrews does so well. Obviously, he's not him. To me, he's the biggest wild card of how you could go about making up for Mark Andrews down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rashad Bateman is clearly a talent. I don't know if he's at the wide receiver one that, that they were hoping that he'd be. I don't know if he's that, but I also don't know that he's not.
Yeah.
He's not getting a lot of opportunities this year, and over the last couple of weeks, he has made the most of the limited opportunities that he has gotten. I'd like to see what happens when Rashad Bateman gets 5 to 6 targets in the game. What happens? He's coming out of games with 2 or 3 at most at this point. So I do think they need to find ways to get him more involved, because I think he can contribute more than he has to this point in the year. But he's got to get the ball. And now with Mark not out there, it will force Lamar to kind of go to some of these other guys, especially in third down situations, in red zone situations. So that'll be the good thing. People have talked about the chemistry with Lamar and Bateman. They're surprised that it's not better than it is right now. And I would just say that, they spent a couple of years together now. This is Bateman, third year? But throughout those 3 years, or 2.5 years to this point, both of he and Lamar have dealt with injuries. I mean, they haven't been on the same field, let alone the same practice field, but so much in these last 2.5 years. So I just think that's why you're seeing guys like Beckham and Flowers who have consistently been on the field with Lamar throughout this offseason and to this point in the year. I think that's why you see the chemistry with those guys a little higher than Bateman right now.
I get that. I understand that. I feel like this is an opportunity. I also think part of the problem when we talk about this, Cordell, is there's only one football, right? Like, you can't – every time – the focus shifts to someone else, right? Like you said something earlier. Everybody was in love with Zay Flowers to start the season. Well, all of a sudden, Odell Beckham gets a little bit more. They start sort of determining going that way, and we're saying to ourselves, well, what's going on with Zay Flowers? Well, Zay Flowers is still the same dude. Like, he still has all the same talent. And I haven't been disappointed by Zay or by Bateman or any of these guys. Like, I feel good about every single one of them. There's just only one football to go around, and they've been trying to feed all three of those guys and Mark Andrews and when the running backs have been on the field. That's a lot. And Nelson Aguilar has been in the mix. Like, that's a lot, and nobody's going to stand out in that capacity.
Yeah, and you're talking about a team who still wants to run the ball.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they're obviously throwing the ball more than they have in recent years, but they are still a running team. And so you got to account for that. You got to account for the Lamar scrambles on some of the pass plays. And I will say I'm curious to see how the target share does get spread out now that Andrews isn't there. It's not like Andrews has been getting the type of targets that he's gotten over the last couple of years, but he's still the go-to guy. He's still the go-to guy, especially when they have to get a play, when they have to get a first down. He's looking at 89.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I think Zay has done – it's still been really good. I'm still looking for them to open it up more with Zay. I think Zay is capable of doing a lot more than what they're asking him to do right now. I think he's an incredibly gifted route runner. He's shown to have reliable hands, doesn't drop anything. I'm ready for the next layer of Zay's game to open up, and to me, that's the deep ball. We're hoping Lamar starts to connect on some of these deep balls. I thought Lamar threw the ball probably as good as he has all year in that win over Cincinnati. Even some of his incompletions down the field were right on the money. So I think that if they could start opening up the deep ball to Zay, to Bateman, even to Beckham, who they're not afraid to throw it to down the field as well, I think that will open it up for all of these guys to start eating more in that short to intermediate.
All right, so Cordell, right now the Ravens sit as the 1 seed in the AFC, but as everybody has pointed out, their schedule, despite the fact they still have the bye coming up, their schedule much more difficult than, say, the Kansas City Chiefs, who have a much easier schedule. So if the Ravens are to somehow get through this gauntlet and be the number 1 seed and get the bye and have home field in the playoffs, it will be because of what down the stretch?
That'll be because they stayed healthy. It'll be because Lamar Jackson is still on the field every week. Because as good as I think this Ravens team is, as great as I think that defense is, we're having a totally different conversation if number 8 isn't on the field. And so, obviously with what's gone on the last couple of years, this is the time of the year that everybody really got their eyes on Lamar. And you look at the division, the Browns don't have a healthy quarterback. The Bengals don't have a healthy quarterback. The Steelers, they don't have a quarterback. It really boils down to Lamar. Can Lamar stay available for his team? And I think he can. I think, he really showed a lot by coming back in that game Thursday night after hurting his ankle, because everybody's holding their breath at that point. Even us in the media are holding our breath because we don't want to go through the same thing we've gone through the last 2 years with the Ravens and asking the same questions about Lamar and his game status. So we're all hoping Lamar is able to stay on the field, including the Ravens, because I think as he goes, obviously this team will go. And when you get into the postseason, if you're talking about, even if you do have to get to the point to where you have to go to Kansas City, or you get the 1 seed and Kansas City comes to Baltimore, you're not beating that team without your superhero, which is Lamar. You in order to beat a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you've got to have your own kind of superhero that can make those same type of plays. And that's Lamar. So as long as he's healthy, I think they have a shot.
And obviously he was inclined to let you guys know that he was feeling just fine yesterday. He did the jig for you. All right, Cordell, tomorrow morning, Reed and I are going to be on, I don't know, when you're not on tomorrow. You don't have to work. How is it that Reed and I are the ones that are working tomorrow?
Hey, look, man, they chose the good ones. They chose the good ones for tomorrow.
Something like that.
I'll be on Black Friday, though, from 9 to noon. So
okay.
I'll be taking over
You'll
next
be on
morning.
after us. So tomorrow morning, one of the topics Reed and I are going to do is how do you or your family do Thanksgiving better than everybody else? So give me something that you would say your family do for Thanksgiving that's better than everybody else's Thanksgiving.
Well, let alone the macaroni and cheese. I think my aunt's mac and cheese, thanks to my critiquing over the years, she has gotten it to the point of, it's invincible at this point. So I will first say the mac and cheese is something that sets it apart from everybody else's. But also, my family is very competitive. So when it gets to the after we eating and stuff, we'll have the football games and stuff on, in the background. But we like to play a lot of like games, like charades or whatever the case is, maybe spades or something like that. But my family is very competitive. So whatever type of group game we can play, that's what's going down after we done got through the dinner, after we've gotten through the pies. You know what time it is. It's time to talk a lot of trash and try to beat some of your favorite family members.
I love this. At Cordell Woodland on Twitter is how you follow him. And Friday morning, 9 a.m., next time you're hearing him on 105.7 The Fan. Always appreciate you, brother. Thanks for taking the time for us.
Appreciate you, Glenn. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, dude. Cordell Woodland with us here on GCR. I did pick up Isaiah Likely in one league this morning I woke up and I wanted Charbonnet, but I didn't get him. But Likely was still on the board. This is the weird league where we have no IR spot, so like the free agent wire is usually pretty good. There's normally something out there because nobody's stashing anybody. Mm-hmm. So I was going to be starting David Njoku this week. This is the league where I'm still waiting on Dallas Goedert, who the news has been better on. Like there's the thought is that he might be back right after the 4-week window is up. So I said, what really is the difference right now for me trusting David Njoku with that quarterback situation versus rolling the dice and taking a shot at Isaiah Likely? So I decided to drop Njoku in favor of Isaiah Likely in that league. I'm not confident.
David Njoku does not play the Ravens anymore, so
that's true, correct, and he eats the Ravens alive, and everybody else is just sort of a guy. I'm not confident about it, but I wasn't going to be confident about David Njoku, so why not give it a shot? He was there, he was waiting. My gut is David Njoku would still be available next week if I don't Well, I would need a tight end next week because I guess even if Isaiah Likely hits, he's going to be on a bye. Damn it. I didn't think about that part of this. Son of a bitch. That's what it is. What are you going to do? But I'm going to roll the dice and see how that goes. And I didn't have to use a waiver claim on him, so I'm fine with that. And then in the league where I had Mark Andrews and did put in a claim for Likely, I also put in a claim for Odell Beckham because I was like, hey, if I'm going to put in one claim, you might as well put in the other. And then I felt stupid because I didn't get Likely. I think I put one in for Charbonnet in that league, too. Didn't get either. Only got Beckham out of it. And I was like, that was not worth a waiver claim. Like, I should have sat on that one a little bit longer. But we'll see. I don't feel great about Isaiah Likely. When the people around, I do those like hits all over the country. He's not somebody I would be starting if I had. I'm only starting him because I'm in tight end hell. If you're not in tight end hell, I'm not starting him over anybody else that I have any confidence in whatsoever.
Yeah. Fortunately, I think I've been pretty good at tight end across my league. So I was able to pick up Kincaid pretty much everywhere where I was hurting. One league I have Trey McBride, and I'm like,
that's been helpful, no doubt. Kincaid is the option in the one league where I lost Andrew, so I'm feeling very good about that one. But
you could of course go Taysom Hill as well.
You never know what you're gonna get. You never know. It has been fairly consistent this year, but you just never know. All right, today's show brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today. When we come back in, segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show featuring special guest Patrick Ricard. And I am teasing you this. In segment number 1 of the show, you will hear Patrick Ricard utter the most embarrassing set of phrases that anyone has uttered in the history of the Tyus Bowser Show. And I've said some embarrassing things. I assure you, what you're going to learn about Patrick Ricard in this next segment will be much more embarrassing than anything you've learned about me.
Really?
Right?
Anything?
Yes. I did take 2 different girls to Creed concerts one summer, so I guess that...
It's the first thing I thought.
It's in that conversation, though. It's in that category. It is that embarrassing. That's coming up next. Glenn Clark Radio. Hey Ravens fans, looking for the perfect new game day brew? Get a Guilford, Baltimore's finest craft beer during the next home game at the bank. That's not all. Gather your flock next home game and check out Guilford Hall Brewery's brand new bar, the Gilly Nest, located near Section 505. No tickets? No problem. Enjoy all Ravens games all season long at our restaurant and brewery in Station North. Guilford Hall Brewery, European tradition, Baltimore charm.
Come for a game, stay for everything else. Book an unforgettable fall getaway in Charm City. Enjoy only in Baltimore festivals, mouthwatering eats, and endless entertainment. Treat yourself to a staycation in the heart of downtown, or try one of the city's many charming neighborhood hotels. And don't miss out on packages for free parking, breakfast, and more. Plan your stay at baltimore.org/hotels.
Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code GlennClark23, GLENNCLARK23. So bet with the best and use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal, too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
What's up, everyone? It's Tyus Bowser, and I've had so much fun hanging out with Rita and putting up with Glenn the last couple years that I've decided to do it again. Season 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show is happening this year, as we'll be all over town, giving you the chance to get to know me and some of my teammates. As we talk football, life in general, and just say what needs to be said. You can find out more about the show by going to PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. If you don't live in the area, you can watch the shows live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you miss one, you can listen Friday nights at 105.7 The Fan. So we'll see you all season long for the Tyus Bowser Show, a partnership of PressBox and Great Ace Memorabilia.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Make sure you're tuned in every Tuesday for PressBox fantasy football analyst Joe Serpico to get you ready for your Waiver Wire Wednesday, brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. And if you have other fantasies you want fulfilled, subscribe to Glenn and Jeremy Kahn's OnlyFans page at... Wait, are people supposed to know about that?
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. I got scenarios up on Facebook. I got to get them up on Twitter. I'm going to do that right now so that you can participate in Would You Rather Wednesday at Glenn Clark Radio. Today's show, actually, it's not brought to you by, instead, just a reminder, no second Stan the Fan show this week. He, Ross, and Luke got together on Monday, and they get together every Monday to talk baseball. So if you missed it earlier this week, you can find it at facebook.com/PressBoxSports or go to youtube.com/PressBoxOnline. Every Monday afternoon, Stan the Fan, Luke Jackson, and Ross Grimsley talking baseball. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. This is from last night. We were at Mother's North Grill in Timonium for segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show featuring Patrick Ricard. And welcome into the Tyus Bowser Show, Pressbox 105.7 The Fan. We are live from Mother's North Grill in Timonium. My name is Glenn Clark. She is the NFL chick, Rita Hubbard. And can you keep that noise going for the host of our show? He is Mr. Tyus Bowser. Good to see you, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
I am great, man. It is great to be back together. Great to be here after a win.
Yes, definitely.
All the things we like. All of
Absolutely.
those things are
We're
good
loving
things.
it right now.
Today's show is brought to you by A.J. Michaels. What company has the expertise and technology to make your home substantially more energy efficient, comfortable, and even virus-free? That's A.J. Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com. All right, Tyus, you got a first-time visitor, despite the fact he's been on the team all 3 years. The first time that he's been out to hang out with us. You want to introduce everybody to him?
Yeah, I don't think this guy needs too much of an introduction. You know, this is a Pro Bowler. How many Pro Bowls? Going to be 5th straight Pro Bowl.
Speaking it into existence, we like that.
One of the most feared fullbacks, players in the NFL, and that guy's Pat Ricard.
Yeah, Pat.
Thank you.
See, this is why, Tyus, you got to bring more offensive guys, because the offensive guys come in and they are just ready. Like, we love the defensive players. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they got the energy to them.
But look how Pat come in and just he's ready. We love that.
He's meant for it. He knows what he's doing.
He's got another life as a professional wrestler somewhere. I'm convinced of it.
I'm sure he does. I know that for sure.
That's Ben Cleveland, not me.
No, yeah, Ben Cleveland. You think he's a pro wrestler?
Yes.
Oh, I guess because he sort of looks like Brock Lesnar.
6'8", 400,
right.
Shredded, ripped, muscle everywhere.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. He'll be able to do that for sure. All right, so as we said, it's good to be back together after a win. You guys went through some stuff against the Bengals last year, right? Like down the stretch last season. You guys swept the Bengals this year.
Yes.
How good does that feel?
No, first of all, say it again.
You guys swept the Bengals.
Clap that up. Clap it up now. Clap it up.
How good does that feel?
It feels great. I can't really remember the time that we have swept the Bengals. We got a ton of respect for those guys, and they have a great, group of guys on their side. So, each week that we play them is going to be a battle. And, we've had, our wins, we've had our losses against them. So to be able to win, there and at home, it's a great feeling.
No doubt. No doubt. Pat, I mean, come on, man. It doesn't get better than that, right?
Yeah, like Ty said, any divisional game, regardless of record, it's always tough. And, those guys have been great the last couple of years. Even though we've had our great games in the past, I think they kind of forgot about that. So they're, talking a lot of trash after.
Do you want to go right to it? We can go right to it.
No, we'll get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to it. We'll get to the beef.
Yeah. So to, sweep them, it's a great feeling. In this game we needed to win to get, solidify us in the first place in the division. So it was definitely a big win. And unfortunately, Joe got hurt. I wanted him to be healthy so that they had nothing to say after we beat them. But it is what it is. So
they had a lot to say.
A lot.
All right, we're going to have to go there, Rita. We're just going to have no choice, but we got to go to it. So, for those of you that didn't see it, Pat kind of got dragged in. Pat was happy to jump into a little bit of the fray this week. It started with Jermaine Pratt getting after Patrick Queen. Jermaine Pratt said, yeah, you were happy 9 went down. They were attacking you. Good S. Of course, he didn't say S, but I'm not going to say that word. There's children present. Patrick Queen responds by saying, 2 catches is attacking? I'll never be happy that my boy went down because, of course, Joe Burrow, that's his LSU guy, right? Like, they love each other. Let me call 42 for you so he can take you to the sideline to the bench again where you belong.
That's tough.
And then he says that, and then Pat Ricard replies with his own GIF to confirm exactly what Patrick Queen said. And that's my favorite part about it. When you have to use your own, when you use your own image to say, he said what he said, and I'm standing 10 toes down on that.
So you had no problem jumping into the fray?
No, because what PQ said on Twitter is exactly what happened. I blocked him to the sideline, and while I was blocking him, he was like, "Good job, good job."
That?
Yeah.
So, he's a guy that always talks, especially against us. I don't know why he does, but he does. So I had to make sure that I let him know.
No, Tyus, did you turn your mic off somehow? I'll fix that as we go. Yeah, there we go. We're good.
We're good.
Tyus, you can't hit the button at the bottom.
My fault. This is new technology.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm working on it.
We're struggling with it. So, is that something that had been brewing for a little while? Maybe did those words need to be shared by everybody? Like, hey, we all need to talk about it and remind you guys what just happened over the course of these last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, Jermaine's a guy that is vocal on Twitter, and PQ is as well, and I don't think PQ is going to let him just say all that stuff about us because he's been doing it for years because they've been beating us. So I just felt like I had to jump in a little bit because I thought it was really funny. And what he said was true, so I had his back. That's on awesome. And off the field.
Tyus, they might not have had Joe Burrow in the second half, but you guys didn't have Tyus Bowser for the whole game, so I'm pretty sure those two things equalize, right?
I believe they equal up, I mean, I think I play a big part whenever I'm on the field, and so does Joe Burrow. So, I mean, I guess there's a balance between that part. So it's really just on who's on the field and what plays being made and what the score is at the end of the game. So
Reed and I were talking about this after the game. It bothers me significantly. Like, y'all didn't have Lamar for a couple games last year.
Yes.
I don't remember.
Game we didn't have him.
Right.
The game before we didn't have him. So I mean.
Was Ronnie out there on Thursday night?
Ronnie was not out there.
What about Marlon? Marlon wasn't out there.
Marlon wasn't out there.
You weren't out there.
I wasn't out there.
So the wins just don't count then? Is that the way it was?
I guess they don't count now.
So it's so weird.
Everybody has excuses. Everybody is complaining. It's a little soft nowadays. So
the goalposts always swing when it doesn't fit the narratives that you're trying to portray. And that's how I see it. Because when they were happy about winning a playoff game against a Pro Bowl quarterback,
Yes.
but a backup nonetheless,
Yes.
that was okay.
That was okay.
But we can't feel happy that you guys won because Joe Burrow didn't play, but he played in the first one.
Yeah.
So does that one count?
I mean, you can say whatever at this point. I mean, at the end of the day, we won. That's all that matters.
Scoreboard. That's
Scoreboard.
what matters.
Exactly.
Scoreboard.
That's
is
all that matters
exactly
at the
what
end of the day.
matters. No doubt.
So I had the opportunity of being at the game on Thursday, and one of my favorite things about primetime games is that it really feels like everybody is just amped up. They come out and it is a party. And I don't know if you guys had heard this, but Patrick Mahomes was on, he did the Manning cast, and he said that Seattle and Baltimore were the two places that really get going, the toughest atmospheres to play. And I felt like Thursday's game solidified Patrick Mahomes and what he said about how hard it is to play. They had multiple timeouts that they called. They had some pre-snap penalties. I mean, the crowd was on fire. How do you guys feel about playing on primetime? Because you only have one here. You have two primetime games, but they're away. But how does it feel to play at night in the dark with the black on and everything going on?
I feel like it's a different energy. It's a different part of you that comes out that, that doesn't come out because, you have 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock games. So, it's football at the end of the day, but it's something when them lights come on at nighttime and you aren't all black, especially when you're playing against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, like you said, a divisional opponent. There's that small part of you that comes out that's like, man, it's go time, and not only as a player, but as a fan, everybody's feeling that same exact way because, the crowd on Sundays is amazing. But it's something about when them lights come on at nighttime that everybody is on the same page. Everybody is in that same mindset of going out there and just letting it all out. So it was fun, man. It was awesome to experience that.
Pat, do you guys feed off of our energy when it's fired up and it's everybody's going and everything is just the energy is right? Do you guys feel that, and does that go through you in terms of like how you guys are on the sideline or how you guys are on the field?
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to get all jazzed up and ready to go when there's thousands and thousands of people just screaming at you. So to piggyback the other question, it's like Thursday night and Sunday night or Monday night, you're the only game on. Everyone's watching you. So that alone should get you ready to go. And then for it to be a home game, it's like there's nothing better. You have all day at the facility Thursday morning, had some meetings, a little walkthrough. We have our tubs and all that. And what are the Bengals doing? What are away teams doing? They're just at the hotel all day, sleeping, and they don't have all the stuff that we do to get ready to go. And then we're in our city, we're driving down, we feel the excitement, you see all the people, and then it's just like, I think Baltimore alone, it's like one of the best stadiums to play in, and then especially a primetime game, they turn off all the lights, everyone has their bracelets on, it's going crazy, and they do a great job with all the videos, and just the fans just going absolutely nuts, and it was a divisional game, so it's even amped up even more, so it's like, those are the games you remember, and especially when you have a win like that, it's very special, and it was definitely a great time, that's for sure.
Did anybody get to meet Big Boy? Did anybody, Tyus, you weren't? Did you try to seek him out at all?
No, I was pretty much just chilling, So I was good.
Man, you wasted. You didn't get to meet Rod Wave. You didn't get to meet Big. What are you doing, bro?
I had family in town. I was around my family. I had a good time with them. So
I'm sure they would have hated to meet Big Boy. I'm sure that would have been.
I'm pretty sure they had a better chance of getting close to him than you. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even know who he is.
Wait, really?
So I came out at halftime and I'm like, who is this guy singing right now? Someone's like, it's Big Boy. I'm like, who's that?
Are you serious?
But did you know
no
who
idea.
Outkast
I
was?
still don't know who he is.
Did you know who Outkast was?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you know who Big
Who
Boy
let the
is.
dogs out, right? Was Outkast? Who let? No.
Oh
No. Who's that?
Oh, Pat.
Sorry.
You said who let the dogs out?
Isn't that Outkast?
No.
All right. What's the Outkast song?
Oh, they have so many.
You
they
would
have,
name one. For sure.
So fresh and so clean.
Yeah.
Ain't
They have I'm sorry,
nobody
Miss Jackson.
gonna pass me. Just so fresh, so clean.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Outkast is one of the best groups of all time.
Roses really smell like boo, ooh, ooh.
Okay, I know that song.
Yeah, roses.
I still don't know who Big Boy is, though. So.
Bro, what
man.
just happened?
He said, "Who let the dogs out?"
How are we
I don't even know who sings that, by the way. It's a funny thing
don't
because
either.
that was the 2000 song
Yeah,
when the
it
Ravens won the
was.
Super Bowl. I have no idea.
I can tell you
I don't
because my
either.
kids like it. It's a group called the Baja Men that I assure
It
you
is the Baja
are
Man.
not in the same
I was
conversation.
listening to that when I was watching Disney Channel.
Bro.
I had that playing.
I'm really not sure how we move on from this. I'm
I'm not
really
sure
not
either.
sure how we go to like other questions. Pat, everybody thank Pat for coming out. It is the Tyus Bowser Show, Pressbox 1057, The Fan. Hey, if you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. So a lot of good news, and then, but the bad news besides Pat Ricard confusing Outcast with the Baja Men, the bad news, of course, is that Mark Andrews goes down. Again, that one apparently doesn't count in Jermaine Pratt's eyes. That one isn't.
Yeah.
It's just their guy. That's the one that counts.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's devastating, right? This is Mark
Absolutely.
Andrews that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But beyond just who he is as a football player, Tyus, could you he was out here, did a show with us. Could you talk about what Mark means as part of like the heart and the soul of this team?
Yeah, just like you said, he's the heart of this team. Just his mindset, just his integrity, his leadership, his hard work, his dedication, sacrifice, everything that he puts to this team, man, is going to be missed. And, not only just his play on the field, speaks volumes, but the type of person, the type of man that he is, speaks volumes as well. Like, if you ever get the chance to be around him, you get the chance to know him, like, you'll run through a wall for that guy just because he'll do the exact same for you.
Wow.
And, I'm going to definitely miss him. I'm praying nothing but, healing, towards him. And, he's going to be back soon. I know he's going to come back even stronger than ever because I just know the type of guy he is. And I know he's working hard. I know he's getting his mind right to come back, as soon as possible, whenever that is, to come out there and dominate like he's been doing for the past several years.
I mean, maybe in the Super Bowl, right?
Maybe in the Super Bowl, man.
Maybe not.
I'm claiming it. Why not?
I love that. I love everything about it.
Claim it. So, Pat, obviously at the fullback position, you're versatile in the sense of you can do so many things. You do H-back, you can block like a lineman, but you can also do some tight end things. Can we expect to see more? Mark Andrews can't be replaced. He's a guy that is, he's one of one. He's one of the generational tight ends that we've seen. But because of his absence, can we see more Project Pat doing tight end things?
So him and I have a little bit of different skill sets.
You can catch the ball,
I can catch
though.
the ball, but I'm not running routes like he does. So
Okay.
we have guys to do that. So I don't anticipate my role really changing that much, and maybe I'll be asked to do a little bit more to kind of fill in what he was doing. But no one's going to be able to do what he did. So I think the roles that are going to be increased is going to be the more receiving tight ends. So Isaiah Likely is in his second year, along with Charlie Kolar. I think both those guys are going to get a lot more looks. I know we brought in a guy today, Scotty Washington, on the practice squad. So those are the guys that are going to absorb Mark's role. And I'm going to do my best to be there for those guys, be the leader in the room, because I am in the tight ends room. We don't have a fullback room for some reason. I don't know why, but so yeah,
I don't have an outside linebacker room either, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. We're just all lumped in together. But yeah, it's a huge blow to the team. But I know guys are excited for the opportunity to make a name for themselves. The two I named are two second-year guys who, in my opinion, are great players. I think Isaiah Likely can start anywhere in the league. He just gets overshadowed by Mark, and rightfully so, right? So, plan to see Isaiah and Charlie expand in roles more. And And don't be expecting me to run all these routes and get the ball as much as him.
You're not throwing jump balls to you in the... No?
I know my role. I know why I'm here. Maybe I'll play defense again, but probably not.
Oh, man. All right. But before we wrap this segment, Tyus, just because we're talking about Mark, we, just a couple of weeks ago, when Jadeveon was out here, we had a whole conversation about hip drop tackles, right?
Yeah.
And you were talking about, man, what are we going to do, outlaw everything?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's football at the end of the day, and, unfortunately, injuries happen. And, I kind of just mentioned just how, in situations like that, just being able to kind of run through different tackles and things like that to maybe avoid those small, little tackles, things like that, to where, you can get your foot out of a certain situation, or leg, whatever the case may be, arm, just because you're finishing through the play. So, it's football at the end of the day, and, injuries going to happen. But like I said, man, I know Mark is going to come back stronger than ever, and I'm excited to have him back and, just healing, God's work towards him. So.
I'm not going to try to start a fight here, but, Pat, I know you were asked about it after the game, and you think that maybe it's something that needs to be looked at a little bit?
Yeah, if you look at, statistically speaking of those kind of tackles, and if offensive guys are getting injured by it, then maybe you got to look at it. But if it's every once in a while, because you got to look at it like a cowboy collar tackle, right? So someone grabs you the back of your shoulder pads and pulls you down. That used to be legal.
Yep.
But then guys probably started getting hurt, injured from it, so they had to make a rule change.
Yeah, Roy Williams made a career out of those tackles.
Yeah, so personally speaking, being a defensive guy in the past, it's very hard to tackle grown men running full speed trying to score. So you have to do everything you possibly can to bring a guy down. So if you're wrapping someone up, and the only way to bring them down is by get their legs caught up, that's what guys do. And unfortunately, guys get hurt by doing it. So I don't know if you coach anything differently, or if you have to tweak the rules so that doesn't happen. But then again, it's if you can't do that, guys are going to wrap up and just get driven another 5-10 yards every single time. So it's hard. It's football, and we're thinking about player safety, but it's such a violent sport that sometimes it's cost of doing business, I guess.
No,
so
I get
it's difficult. Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, especially as a defensive player too, when your objective is to get the guy down, regardless of how to, the legal way. And like you said, the collar tackle, you talk about equipment. That's the guy's equipment, and
right.
Compared to just simply grabbing a guy, tackling him. So, it's just one of those very, interesting, questions that you got to figure out the best solution to. And, hopefully we do that, but I hope that we don't lose the, integrity of the game as well.
All right. So would y'all please make some noise one more time? Tyus Bowser and Pat Ricard. Hey, if you missed him at the last Tyus Bowser Show, you can meet Justin Matabike on Tuesday, December 19th at Wise Markets in Haverty Grace. A VIP autograph ticket will cost you a donation, a $25 donation to Grade 8's Memorabilia's Project 500 Gifts Toy Drive, which is doing really incredible work this holiday season. It's a win-win. You can get your autograph tickets right now, grade8smemorabilia.com with the number 8. Hey, and a special thanks to Geno Stone, as his signing event last week helped Grade 8s pass out 640 Thanksgiving feasts today for those in need, which is awesome. When we come back in, speaking of good work, these two guys have done a lot of good work. I want to talk to them about all of that. And we will get to you segment number 2 on Friday at as part of Glenn Clark Radio, and segment number 3. And you can always watch or listen to the entire show. We'll have it all up at glennclarkradio.com. You can go find it at pressboxonline.com and YouTube and Facebook. But that was segment number 1 of the Tyus Bowser Show, and I'm not sure how – I don't know what to say about Pat Ricard. That was one of the most painful. It hurt me so much, I couldn't even keep making jokes about it. If you go back and listen to the aftermath of that, I'm puzzled by it, and then I just sort of sit there flummoxed for a second. What? I feel like you just admitted to a crime. Like, what you just said you thought that Outkast did Who Let the Dogs Out.
I mean,
what is the point of life? Like, what is going on here?
He's a football player.
I understand that, but there are some things within society that just should be touchstones.
Focuses on football,
God, damn, man, that was, and he didn't have to say that. That's the other part about it. Pat could have just come out and kept that to himself. When I said, "Did anybody meet Big Boy?" he could have said, "Nope," and that would have been the end of it, and we would have never known. The world would have never known the shame of Pat Ricard. Again,
credit to him for
yeah. There are certain things that I would say you can't waterboard out of me. That would be one that I would like to hope you couldn't avoid. Bruce Cunningham tells a story, and the first time he told it to me, I said, "Bruce, you love to tell stories, and I love listening to you telling stories. Never tell that story again. It involves a honey-baked ham and somehow him accidentally eating dog poo."
What?
Yep.
I want to
straight shoot.
So are you going to protect him and not tell the story? Or
he can tell the story.
So I should ask him about it?
He's told it on the air. Every time we've talked about it, I said, "Bruce, there are plenty of things. Maybe I should be embarrassed to share the fact that I went to 2 different Creed shows in one summer, right? Like, that's very embarrassing. But, like, I'll live. The part where you consumed dog poo, they could be torturing me, and I would say, "You're not getting it out of me." That one would be one. And not knowing who Big Boy is and voluntarily suggesting that Outkast did Who Let the Dogs Out would be at the top of my... And again, I love Pat Ricard. I bless him, does wonderful things for our community. I'm so glad that he is involved with Show Your Soft Side. It makes me very, very happy. He's been wonderful for my kids. My kids, like, I've met him a million times now. I love Pat Ricard. But God damn, that was a difficult moment. I'm still not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Whew. All right. Scenarios are up for Would You Rather Wednesday at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, so that you can participate in them. I would encourage you to go do that. And don't forget, the Project Game Day returns this Sunday night. Myself, Rita, Femi, KZ, the whole crew. After Ravens Chargers, come hang out with us. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports or YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. Project Game Day is brought to you by AJ Michaels, Superbook Sports, and HelpMyGamblingProblem.org. Come hang out with us just as soon as Ravens Chargers ends on Sunday. All right, what's the story here?
It should be here by the quarter of the hour. Quarter after.
I'll believe it when I see it. Maybe when we come back in, it'll be penalty payment time. If not, we'll go over Would You Rather Wednesday. That's next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Todd Karpovich profiles the Orioles survivors, Anthony Santander, Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, and Ryan Mountcastle, who all came from the previous regime but stuck through tough times to be key pieces in guiding the franchise back to prominence. Also inside, we remember the iconic Brooks Robinson with tributes from Jim Henneman and myself, Stan the Fan Charles, and a trip down memory lane to remember the most significant moments of his career. Plus, we meet players from college basketball programs around the state. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Visit Harford County. Gear up for the holidays by supporting local with Small Business Saturday on November 25th. Take in the dazzling sights of the season with a Ladue Christmas at Ladue Topiary Gardens. Enjoy holiday lights, sing along to holiday songs, reserve a carriage ride, and sit on Santa's lap in Bel Air's Winter Wonderland, happening every Saturday from November 25th until December 16th. Nothing sparks that holiday joy quite like a festive parade. Head to visitharford.com and click on Events to see the full list of parades and so much more. In Maryland, you're welcome.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
There's so much focus on sports betting these days, but I want to talk about an area that nobody wants to gamble on, where you choose to go out and spend your hard-earned dollars to eat. The Costas Inn is no gamble at all. The quality on their menu is outstanding, and the value is off the charts with a great and varied list of specials Monday through Friday. And the staples of the menu, whether it's salads, burgers, fish, they're all fantastic. And I haven't even mentioned the crabs or crab cakes yet. So check out the menu for yourself at CostasInn.com. When choosing a place to dine, never gamble on the food you put in your belly. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or call 410-477-1975 for reservations and your steamed crab orders.
6 chicken tenders made from fresh, never frozen Royal Farms world-famous chicken, a family-sized order of Western fries, honey mustard dipping sauce, and a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It's Royal Farms' new Tucker's Tenders Meal. It's Justin Tucker's favorite, and at only $19.99, it'll be your favorite meal too. The new Tucker's Tenders Meal, available only at Royal Farms. Now you can kick back, relax, and eat like a champion. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms.
Come for a game, stay for everything else. Book an unforgettable fall getaway in Charm City. Enjoy only in Baltimore festivals, mouthwatering eats, and endless entertainment. Treat yourself to a staycation in the heart of downtown, or try one of the city's many charming neighborhood hotels. And don't miss out on packages for free parking, breakfast, and more. Plan your stay at baltimore.org/hotels.
Don't forget about Project Game Day after every Ravens game this season. It's kind of like this show, except Rita's also there, so I actually think it's pretty good. But hey, you're already here now, so why don't you go ahead and keep listening to GCR.
All right, back in here on GCR as we can continue along here on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. And as I mentioned, the Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios are up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. You can check them out there. Get in. Somebody's going to win a T-shirt of their choice from our friends at Birdland Sports. As always, check them out. birdlandsports.com. Appreciate them helping us. And they got a lot of great holiday gifts available, some wonderful stocking stuffers for the Baltimore sports fan in your life. So check out birdlandsports.com and appreciate them being with us for Would You Rather Wednesday. All right, so the Eagle has landed. Is that,
he's currently, I guess, circling and about to land. Actually, I just saw him. He is landing.
So you think he's going to be able to figure out where we are?
Yeah, yes.
God, it's been a long time since Kyle Ottenheimer has been a part of the show. For those that don't know, Kyle was the original when the radio station went under in 2014. I had no idea what I was going to do, right? But started talking to some folks and had this idea. Remember, in 2014, there was not this era of podcasting, this era of live streaming. It had not begun yet. And so I had this thought of, well, what if we just kept doing the show, but we didn't do it on the radio? And I would say that to people, and they'd be like, what? Like, what is that? But I was invited to come do Inside Press Box, which was on ABC2 at the time. And it was Stan the Fan Charles and Gary Stein that hosted that show. And Kyle had interned for them at one point, and they had invited him to come on the same show. And I had never met Kyle before. And we just started chatting, and I told him what I was looking to do, and Kyle was like, I'm in. And I had never met the guy before, and he was ready to jump in head first in this new venture with me. And I'm like, the hell? Okay. And there was a bit of a we started doing it. Then we had a bit of a hiccup because Kyle was still working at ABC2 at the time. And they were like, yeah, we have a moonlighting policy. You can't do that. So we had to throw Kyle off the cliff and say that he was dead. But then a couple months later, he was so dedicated to what we were trying to do that he left his job at ABC2 and took a different job so that he could do it. And that always meant a lot to me. And we have remained friends to this day. You only got one?
I'm not going to eat it just myself. I'm not going to have more leftover McFlurry.
No, you need Griffin's has to do it too.
Do you think there's not enough ice cream in this for us both to put it on 2 hamburgers?
I wanted it to be the entire McFlurry.
Oh man, that would have.
I wanted it to be the entire McFlurry.
Seen the pictures.
This is you. This is
exactly.
That is
absolute
did
BS.
Did you get 2 burgers?
No, I only got 1 burger.
I never know with you.
I only got 1 burger.
I never know. I was saying nice things about Kyle, and then it took all of 3 seconds for him to be back for me to remember what I have to deal with
I have something to talk about with this.
Do you though?
Yeah, I do. So I watched that silly review that somebody posted on the thread when we were like at risk of having to eat these burgers. Which, thank goodness I'm doing it. And he was talking about how bad it was, of course, because it's not going to be good.
First of all, it's not going to be good, and it's also it's an abomination.
I'm not saying it's not. Because there's no part of me is making an argument here that it's not.
Further from God.
Well, sure, that's a given. And so he's talking about how it just tastes like onions, pickles, and ice cream,
That's
right?
sort of. What else was it going to taste like?
Hold on, let me keep going. The picture on Jameson Williams, this started this madness. There are no onions visible at all. None whatsoever. There are only pickles on the top half of the bun.
You're not taking the onions off.
No, what I did was got 1 with onions, 1 without. We're going to cut it in half. You look at the picture. You tell me if I'm wrong. You tell me if I'm wrong. I actually wanted to know.
Remember what I said to you? Remember what I said to you?
It is a naked
Do you remember
burger.
what I said to you? Do you remember that conversation? This is what I get. This is why we
You
didn't.
said I'm a good guy?
We didn't leave. I was trying to, and then you came in
this
here.
isn't mutually
and
exclusive.
I remembered what I had to deal with at all times.
This isn't mutually exclusive.
This is what I had to deal with.
All
constantly.
I'm saying is, pull up the picture, please. I beg you.
I don't care about the picture.
Oh, do you
we
not care?
agreed to eating a double cheeseburger with a McFlurry on it.
Did we also agree to putting an entire McFlurry? Because when was that part of the deal? Whatsoever.
I'm pretty sure we didn't say a half a McFlurry, Kyle. I'm pretty sure it never came up in conversation. I don't know what we said. Tell me what we said.
This is a small.
Did we say half a McFlurry, Griffin?
I mean, we just said a McFlurry-burger.
I said you dumped the McFlurry on the burger.
You didn't say that.
That's what we said.
You didn't say.
You didn't.
There will still be more than enough.
You're talking about semantics. You know I'm a king of semantics.
Yeah,
Dump the
I know.
McFlurry on the burger. First of all, if I dump this upside down,
You know
it's just going to be Oreo
I was
crumbs
going to let you
falling out.
participate in Would You Rather Wednesday. I just decided I don't want that ever.
I don't care.
I don't ever want to deal with that again in my life. I can't believe how much my life was bad. We have a radio producer now who's just as bad as you. Oh my God, he might be even worse. My buddy.
His voice isn't as good as mine.
He's not as good. But I'm telling you, when it comes to Would You Rather Wednesday, every time. Well, what if it's not? Shut up and answer the question.
You're talking about.
You all right there?
Not you. I said
okay.
radio.
No, I know.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I guess I'm not a.
It's good to see you too.
I was so just trying to say about how much I loved you. And
I do love
appreciated
you. I don't. Well, I love you.
You come in here and you
I
took the onions off one of them.
Yeah, and you're look. I knew that this would be a thing, so that's why I got one with onions.
Thing.
I'm going to try the one with onions. I'm going to try the one with that. We're cutting them in half. I want to see if one's better because my theory is Jameson Williams does not get onions on that. Look at the picture. No onions visible.
No one asked.
I don't care if they asked. You know I don't care if they asked.
This is like when my son. I swear to God, I said to my son, it's time to go to bed, and he'll say, I'm reading a book. I say, no one asked you that. That did not come up in conversation.
I know there are some listeners out there, Paul and John, who are like, this. I missed this anger from Glenn.
God.
Like Griffin doesn't get under his skin the way that Kyle does.
Not at all.
And I think you miss it a little.
Almost no one does.
I think that people miss
It's
it.
you, my kids, and my wife. That's the list of people.
Well, that's also a list of people you love. So
God.
I'm happy to be on it.
Griffin, go get whatever we need from the kitchen. In order to
I got a knife. Don't worry.
All right.
But I think we
I
might
think
need
we
a
might
plate.
plates.
It's going to be a little messy, I think. You were thinking we're going to put an entire
Did you
McFlurry on the
blow
burger?
Before you came in here today,
Of course
by
I
the way?
did.
All right.
What do you mean? What
Why
kind
would
of
it be
question
any-
is that?
Why would it be any different
You
than
kidding
any
me?
other day?
What is this?
You are on one. What is what's going on with you? What is your deal?
You know.
I would say, what can I plug for you?
Yeah, life.
Yeah. What's your deal?
What is my deal?
Yeah, what's your deal?
Michigan's doing well. You
Yeah,
know,
you are-
nothing to complain about.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Nothing really going on that I can feel bad
good
about.
there.
Yeah, everything's going great.
God,
You know.
of course he's excited about
I hit
it.
my little parlay for the baseball
Oh,
season.
did you? What was your parlay?
It was Gunnar Henderson and Corbin Carroll, Rookie of the Year.
Look at that.
It was
What'd you hit it for?
$250 on it to win like $3,800.
How are you swimming in waters where you can make $250 bets? You might need to call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I was employed.
Oh, you were employed.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you mean?
Has that been able to carry you through the
It helps,
season of-
actually. It does help.
All
Yeah, it does
right,
help.
Fair enough.
No, it absolutely helps. Yeah.
Season of uncertainty. that
Yeah,
was followed up.
no. But
How
no, I
much
think-
did your time here derail your professional ambitions? How
who's to
much
say? No, I got some experience, quote unquote.
experience?
Quote unquote.
Doing what?
I was quote unquote a board producer.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure that.
And no, I think
quote unquote a board producer. When did you do that?
It was a thing I did.
He sat behind.
There
me
were some
for
buttons.
sure.
There was like gains,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of buttons we didn't know what they did.
Yeah, there were way more of those. Way more of those. Oh God.
Is it a new board now?
I don't know. It might be the same board.
That's
actually.
the same board.
It is
I
the same
recognize
board.
that
It's the
board.
same board.
Still some buttons. We don't know
There's
what they
way
do.
more bells and whistles involved.
This is
now.
the plate you got?
I don't know if that's going to be big enough.
What is this?
What's
This is a bread and butter
The
plate.
plates are not like they're,
Oh,
they're
okay,
not
you
all
got
the
one for
cleanest.
yourself at
Yeah,
least,
yeah,
but we're gonna use yours to cut them up, I guess.
All
Ah,
right,
this sucks.
let's get to this. Let's
Oh yeah, okay. I'm so sorry we're wasting your time when we're the ones that have to
I'm-
eat this
That's
monstrosity.
part of the reason why I want to get to it, so that you have time to eat this monstrosity.
Time to eat it. What do you mean? We don't have to eat the whole thing, do we? That was a good one. Is this the one? Whatever, we'll figure it out.
I can't.
Are you
I
right
can't
over
believe
there?
it. Who, if any of you are interested in a career where you become the producer, leave, and come back, and somehow I fire you again.
You didn't fire
I
me
didn't
out
fire
first
him the
time.
First time. I wish I did. That would have been fun. I wish.
What is
just for
this?
the fun of it. It would have been neat if I would have fired you. If anyone fire you this
bun
time.
off first
If anyone
before I
would
cut
like
it.
that. What is? Why are?
What do you mean? What am I doing? I need to put the ice cream on it. Does it not make sense to take the bun off before I cut it in half?
My stress level is
Maybe you should take a breather.
significant. I can't live like this anymore.
You don't have to. I'm gonna be.
I really like. Do you like Nate Bargatze? Are you?
Yeah, he's the man.
He's
I saw
great.
him
He's
at the
great.
Lyric a couple years
Did you
ago.
really?
Yeah.
I love Nate Bargatze. I swear to God. Every time he gets to a part in his shtick where he's like, "I'm not gonna live like this," it makes me
He's
so happy.
so great. You don't even realize he's a clean comedian
like-
until you were told.
Yeah,
he's
he
a clean
doesn't. He
comedian.
doesn't
Right.
cuss. He
Yeah,
doesn't
you're like,
cuss.
wait,
and it's,
I guess you're
but
right.
but he's not like trying to thump the Bible at you. He's just.
Oh, you
trying-
missed that? You didn't see that one?
Yeah, I didn't. Apparently, I missed that one. He did a bit in his last special about how Christian his parents were, and it was very funny.
His parents are. His dad's like a magician.
Yeah, correct. And a clown. Or he's like a clown that became a magician or something. Like, God, I love Nate Bargatze. He's amazing.
Looking forward to this.
The bit that we're just doing Nate Bargatze bits now.
Let's
So
do it.
the bit where he's like, because he and I are very similar in this, where he doesn't know anything about how his house works. Like, he has no
Like the
manly
mechanic
capabilities.
comes, yeah.
It's like, where's your water cooler? And he's
Your
like,
half.
I don't think we have one.
The water heater, yeah.
Where's your water? That's exactly.
Yeah.
Where's your water heater?
He's
Oh,
like,
it's
I would like to buy one from you right
suddenly,
now. Can we-
Suddenly, I'm in a whole. It's a whole thing. I don't know. Tough time for water heaters. It's a whole thing. Make sure you're getting pictures. Make sure.
Oh, thanks for that extra pickle there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that'll be good for you. You need.
Oh, that's your plate. No. Take it. You take
the
that
other
one.
Day,
I don't want the extra
other
pickle.
day was National Pickle Day, so you.
Do you want some McFlurry while
no,
we're at
I
it?
don't want any McFlurry. I want to know that you put enough McFlurry.
Oh,
on this.
I'm sorry. Does the excess of McFlurry on this wrapper right now and it's seeping all over this
Well,
burger?
it doesn't help if it's on the wrapper, Kyle. It doesn't put the delicious Triscuit crackers in my mouth. Now, does it? I want to make sure that there is plenty of McFlurry on this burger. I want it to be overwhelmed with
Don't
McFlurry.
you worry.
I'm worried about it. I've seen your act before.
It's a pretty good act, though.
It's not that. It's not as good as Nate Bargatze.
Remember when I did the Jaws monologue?
I did. That one was your finest hour. You know what? Of all the things you did on this show, the Browns are going to win 6 games the year that
Well,
they
they
went
did.
a couple years later.
I think I said more than 6. Didn't I say 8?
I did.
I think I said 8.
I think the bet was, or the guarantee. Whatever happened to that book?
Maybe if you told me there were delicious Triscuit crackers, I could have enjoyed them with you.
I was in the other room.
That's not the line.
That
He
is
has
the
a
line
he
is
has
it
a
doesn't
board
put
like
the
that now?
delicious Triscuit crackers in my mouth.
When did he get a little NPC thing?
We're struggling with this. We're working on it. We're trying to get there.
I never had one of those.
Well, I had the sounder of you saying you were a big Hanson fan, and I did enjoy playing that.
Yeah, you sure did.
Kyle was. Did somebody tell me that they might be a little MAGA? They might be a little. They might have gone that route. That'd be sad if that were the case.
They did have blonde hair and blue eyes.
They fit the bill. They do fit the bill.
All right. Is this enough for your liking? Is this enough McFlurry on this burger?
I feel like it could use more McFlurry.
It's a pretty thick layer.
I feel like it could use more McFlurry. I feel like you are.
The bun is resting atop McFlurry.
I had an entire thing of mayonnaise poured on me. I had mayonnaise.
Poured on you? No, you didn't. That
I
didn't
had
have
mayonnaise in my.
Was that the mayo bowl
one? For like a week. A week.
But when is that's a Tuesday
Leah,
for you?
Leah, you want the rest of the McFlurry?
Please take it.
Yeah, it's yours. The McFlurry is yours. You don't have to eat the burger. That's the abomination.
Of course. All right. Griffin.
How did Leah react when she saw you? Was she like?
She was
saw
excited
a ghost?
to see me. She was like,
I
it's
thought,
been a while.
She was like, is he back here to shoot the place up? Like, what's going on here? And it's come on, we got to get to it. Eat the burger.
Oh yeah,
it's melting. It's melting.
All right,
Eat
Griffin,
the burger.
cheers.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
This is the.
Did you take pictures?
Yeah, I did.
This is the no onion one. No onion one.
That was
I'm doing right here.
Eat it before it drips everywhere.
I'm doing the onion one, I think. Yeah,
okay,
I'm doing the onion.
Let's go. I'm afraid you're both going to say you like it. I'm terrified that you're both going to say it's good. Oh. I'm not hearing. Just chewing.
I mean, it's not good, but it's not awful.
It needs more McFlurry. There wasn't enough McFlurry on it.
Let me rub it in the remnants all over my.
This is very disappointing. This is.
I would never do it again.
This is
No. It's also too much work.
All right. So what is it? Describe what it is that you're tasting as your.
A burger, right? Like
right.
It's still a burger.
You definitely taste the burger, and then.
But it's a McDonald's.
Predominantly sweetness after the burger.
Right.
So like vanilla, very vanilla.
It's burger first.
Yeah, burger first.
And then you'll get.
Then all of a sudden it's overwhelmed by the.
Yeah, and then you'll get like a chocolate chunk of Oreo or something.
A little bit of that in there.
Right.
But like.
Could you see?
I think Elvis probably would have liked this. You know what I mean?
Was he an ice cream man? I know he was the
Of course
banana.
he was,
liked the
dude.
banana peanut butter.
Yeah, you saw him in his later years. Of course, he was an
liked
ice cream
everything,
man.
Right? I understand that. It got away from him. Could you see why a human being would choose to consume this?
Like,
no.
Okay.
I don't think I could.
Right.
I
Some people really like sugar on everything, like on rice.
Do we have to worry about you? Are you going to go into shock or something as you consume?
Become a diabetic?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Like
I
on
don't know,
rice.
man. I don't know how these things work.
Or like their spaghetti, they put a lot of sugar on it and stuff like that, right? Some people's palates.
What's wrong with
Like, who was that one prospect who like loved baked beans and just ate plates and plates and plates of baked beans?
I don't
like,
remember this
before every
story.
game, he eats a plate full of baked beans.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was either a college guy. Maybe he didn't make it to the pros for some reason. Who knows?
for some reason, yeah.
I guess it's the onion one. Oh no.
You already
I had the onion one.
It's melting everywhere.
This is what ice cream does. Do you have
I
a
know,
McDonald's
that's
in
why
the
we need to eat it
studio? How does
quickly.
that
We
work?
got to eat it quickly. God. This is what happened. They lost the side bet. For those that don't know, they lost their side bet on picks last week. They were both 3 and 6.
I was able to do it, I think, for like a half a burger. Yeah, going in for a second half of the burger, definitely not.
It's impacting you now?
Yeah. Like I don't. Well, impact might be a strong word, but it's like
It's
I
still.
just don't want to. I would never elect to eat this. Ever. Why would you ever?
But this is not as painful as some of the side bets.
No,
that's why I agreed to do it. You know I like sweet and savory, right? Like I'm a proponent of sweet and savory. I think that breakfast sandwiches should have jelly on them.
I couldn't respect you.
Sue me.
You didn't hear what just happened. You think I've lost respect for you?
Oh no, that was a bad bite.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It was the same bite as everything else.
Heavy on ketchup on that bite.
Oh, that's no good. That's a lot of sugar. That's a lot of
Different
sugar.
kinds of sugar too. It's like this one's not really sugar, but it is.
Did you didn't happen to hear what we learned about Pat Ricard, did you?
In the words of Matt Judon, nobody listens to you, Glenn.
He did say that.
God,
that was funny.
When did he say that?
That was so funny. Man, I miss that guy. I love that.
Really funny.
That guy was amazing.
It was really funny. At least with a coach now lets him, flourish.
God, man. So I just set up a question like, you know what dummies like me, are saying about whatever it was, and Matt impeccably said, "Nobody listens to you, Glenn," and it was so perfect. It was just so flawless that it meant the world to me. You good?
Yeah, you got
be
a
all right?
good bit of ketchup.
Are you gonna go into some sort of shock?
No, I won't.
Like now, I'm worried that we find out today that
the onion one had more ketchup on it. I think is what the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm eating the onion one now too. So.
But I can't taste any onions. So really, there's no difference between the onion and a non-onion one. Whoever reviewed it initially, it's not good. Don't do it.
Disturbing.
Don't do it.
Yeah, the people that were like, dude, I actually think I would eat that. Like, I think I hate you. Like, and I mean that. Like, I think anybody who would look at that and say, that sounds pretty good to me, get the entire F out of here. We used to be a country that had standards. We used to be a land where we understood right and wrong. And like this is decidedly wrong. This is what was the sandwich that Bradley Bozeman liked so bad? It was the banana mayonnaise, right?
Yeah.
Banana mayonnaise.
I ate
was
that
his
too.
bit.
And salt and pepper.
And we tried it and we said like,
it doesn't make me want to die.
yeah, it's fine. I don't know why any human being would ever choose it. I get it, it's a struggle meal, the whole thing, but like you're not you're making money now in your life. You don't need to continue doing this. You can do better things.
My life.
You thank you, by the way. Thank you for coming in and doing that. Anybody who supports this, anyone who said, I think I could be good with that, no,
It's
you
just
don't,
like
you don't have a place in a
seeking
functional
attention,
society.
I think.
There's a little bit of that, but I also think genuinely there are people who are like, I'd eat the hell out
So
of it.
I've never done the peanut butter burger thing,
So they do it at what, Abbey Burger does
But
that?
But like a peanut butter chicken, right? A marinade with peanut butter forward stuff is good, right? I don't mind that, but it's a little more savory. I have done, what's actually really good that I've done? Like the red hot crispy chili. This is Kyle in the kitchen. The crispy chili oil.
It's time for Kyle in the kitchen.
The crispy chili oil. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, of course.
Mix that with a good, not like your Smuckers, but like the you're not sponsored by Smuckers these days, are we?
I'm not particularly.
The Bon Amon, that real good jelly,
Okay,
get some raspberry, mix that with the hot chili, crispy chili.
Okay.
And as that for a burger topping,
I'm listening.
Is phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I don't know that it'd be my choice, but I'm listening to it.
It's great.
The peanut butter burger, the problem for me with it is the resistance as it's
like
going.
your lips. It's like you feel like you're a dog.
That's exactly what it is, man. Like I need something.
I don't know the ratio. I don't know how much they're putting on that thing.
They're not. It's not overwhelming. But
Right. It's not like a whole
just
McFlurry.
Not the right. Yeah, it's not a whole McFlurry on a burger. It's just not the right combination of things. I think the flavor concept of the peanut butter
I get it.
works.
I mean, I get it more than I lent thought to when I was younger when I first heard about it.
Actually, the texture of it to me with a burger, it's the wrong, and they put bacon on it too. Like it's just the wrong combination. You're getting too much resistance as you try to consume the food.
I just think the vanilla has no place on a burger.
No, it has no place.
Yeah. That was when I was getting a piece of patty and I could just see the ice cream sinking into the patty. I was like, this is
that's good meat they're using. So it's like
quality,
right, like you're
that might have been a cow. Maybe.
Right, which I
Could
think
be
also
anything, really.
Also adds to it. It's
Right.
it's a McDonald's burger that you're eating.
In fairness,
I wouldn't want
those faces that you make would be the same faces I would make just eating a McDonald's burger at this point in my life.
I didn't want to you wouldn't want to defile like Wagyu with like McFlurry,
It's better.
Yeah.
This is not going to ruin anything for you. It's a great point that you bring up. We've talked about this before. Like Crystal Light has been ruined for me. I can't consume Crystal Light.
I brought you some actually.
You better not open that thing. I'm going to start gagging.
Hey, what was your DJ name back in the day?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I'm never going to tell you. You're going to die without knowing. Remember we were talking about earlier?
Can they put it on my tombstone?
Have
What
you
if
heard-
I agree to let him put it on
It's okay.
my tombstone?
Hold
Hold on. This is an offer I'm making you.
Yes. It can be on your tombstone. I will allow that. When you die, you'll never know. You'll never know.
Or maybe I will. We don't know how that works.
Oh, yeah. All right, so 2 things.
I'm Nate Bargatze.
Thank you. 2 things. I told earlier. There's a story that I will never tell anyone. But there are people that know, but if you don't know, you're never gonna know.
You don't
right?
know.
There are some
you still
people.
don't know.
Yeah.
That's the line.
What was the line from? Is that MTV Diary?
Oh,
you think you know?
But you know. I was doing the
You think
Biggie
you know?
line.
Oh,
but,
that one was good. That's
but
good.
also didn't.
Yeah,
We didn't want to go too far into the line.
My favorite one was that they did an Incubus episode of Diary, and it was you think you know, but you have no idea.
I remember these.
I have diarrhea.
You guys have the thing that changes the ads now automatically. What does he do over there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he does.
What does he even do?
That's where you're supposed to play the clip, Griffin. My God!
Yeah, sorry.
We started a soundboard.
I had to be on.
I thought it was going to be a thing.
On the dot every 40 minutes, sometimes an hour late.
Swear to
Not even supposed to be here.
No,
today.
that's not the one, Griffin. I don't even know what he does here. I don't even know what she does back there. Mom!
I got you.
Doing? I never know what she's doing.
To be fair, you act like this is like a hive mind where he's like, how was he supposed to know that was the
have
one?
To work on this.
But how was he supposed to know that was the one?
He heard the clip. He's heard it. I don't even know what she's doing back there.
You guys need to do, and don't let Harbaugh see him, but you guys need to do some signals
Yeah, right.
that are like, this is the one I want.
What,
you know?
what about when Exit 52 starts stealing our signals, right? Like they just start. Oh, that's a good idea. Now we know what they're doing. We can play the clips. All right, two things. So Bruce Cunningham once admitted on the air to having consumed dog poo.
Oh gosh.
I would never. I
Was
said
it white?
to him,
White dog poo?
It's a story. It involves ham.
I don't need to know the whole thing.
Still.
Yeah.
What I said to him was,
it was a Step Brothers joke, is why.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Bruce. You couldn't waterboard that out of me, right? Like
there's certain things you just don't share.
You just take that. Pat Ricard last night on the Tyus Bowser Show, I asked them if either of them got to meet Big Boy, and he said, "I don't know who that is." Now that's tough, right? That's a tough scene. And then he said, because Tyus said Outcast, and he said, "Yeah, I know who Outcast is. I don't know who that's bad."
Sure.
He said, "Yeah, Outcast. They did Who Let the Dogs Out, right?"
Yikes.
Which of those things is worse? Is it worse that Bruce Cunningham admitted to having consumed dog poo, or is it worse that Pat Ricard out loud suggested that Outcast did Who Let the Dogs Out?
I think
you're correct.
I think it's the latter.
I think that's the single worst thing that anyone has ever said.
Yeah, it's pretty bad
in the history of
it's almost a perfect bit if it were a bit, right?
Right. If it were a bit, correct.
It would be like
Saturday
you couldn't have
Night
thought
Live.
of a better.
Right. What's
you
the
couldn't
thing
have
that we
thought
could
of
say
a
to
better
be
song
most embarrassing
to make
yeah.
it offensive for people who love Outkast.
Yeah.
I was just recently at a wedding in Italy. It was a great time.
This guy.
It was a great time. I'm cultured now.
Hobnobbing, jet setting. Look
I'm
at this guy
cultured
over
now.
here.
And
I was just in Naples.
There was no reason for it whatsoever. I had not thought of the Baja Men in a decade plus.
Why would you?
And we were just at dinner, and I randomly, it was a long table. I was just like, if I hear one person here call the Baja Men a one-hit wonder again, I will lose my ass.
Okay, that's good shtick.
Yeah.
That's good shtick.
Yeah. Not the same.
Not at all.
No,
Not
I
even
know.
remotely the same.
And their top, we went to their apples, their charts, right,
Yes.
to see what their second most
They
popular
certainly
song
did
was.
not have one.
So here
They did not.
Number one, Who Let the Dogs Out?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Number two, Who Let the Dogs Out? Barking version.
There you go. That's about right. Okay. You know that one of the greatest songs of all time, but you might not know. You're older than Griffin, but you're still not. Teenage Dirtbag by
I know
Wheatus
that song.
is one of the most iconic songs of a
The
generation.
guy's really nasally voice.
And
I'm just a teenage.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I was an HFS kid.
Majestic. It's the beautiful song. I don't know how I feel about it because Wheatus has been able to have this like renaissance because younger people have
really?
discovered. Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those like TikTok things that turned them into popular.
There was a teenage dirtbag challenge on TikTok.
That sounds awful.
Where you like posted pictures of your parents when they were teenagers.
Yeah, it still sounds
and
awful.
they set it to Teenage Dirtbag, and then all these young people are like, "What is this beautiful song?"
Oh no.
It's perfect, right?
It's a bit of an overreaction, right?
Well, no, it's not. It's a wonder. It really is a
no, it's a
phenomenal
great song.
It's
I used to watch it. Was that on that was in the box days?
It would have been on the box. 100%.
Yeah.
Her name is Noelle.
Yeah.
So there's had this renaissance, and all of a sudden people are into it, and like professional wrestlers ask them to do their theme music. It's like a whole thing. So Wheatus this week put out a Christmas version of Teenage Dirtbag. It's called Christmas Dirtbag.
I don't know.
And I'm in a very weird place with it because
you are the target demo.
100%.
Like you're the guy they were like,
Christmas.
this is honestly for
I
Glenn.
love Wheatus. I'm the only man that this is for me.
Yeah.
And yet, I feel like I'm supposed to hate that that's what they're doing. Like,
right, I think it's like
I shouldn't have any respect
hacky
for
kind of
this.
thing.
Yeah, I should.
Isn't
feel
everything
that way.
kind of a little hacky?
They put out a second Christmas Story movie last year, and like,
Yeah, that's a different.
It's
I don't know. I can't
it's a
blame them
different-
for being like, guys, we're popular again. We better do something to try and
right?
seize
Something.
this.
How do we profit from this in any way?
Yeah, that's how this works. You have only so much time to, and it's that time of year, you know.
And he tried to put out a new album, and everybody was like, "No.
It has more staying power than a Thanksgiving song,
Yeah,
you know.
Probably true. Probably
Well, definitely, literally
it's
true.
Probably the case. All right, Are you staying for a minute, or are you? What do you got?
Mike Florio, he has been meaning to talk to me for a while.
Is that true? He's been dying to. I got to talk to Florio. Do you want to stay and hang out?
I can hang for a second. I tell you from
Well,
what I
is that-
gather, I know the parlance. I can hang, and I'll probably leave at some point in the Mike Florio interview.
Okay. Well, then, thank you. I love you. It's good
I
to
love
see
you too.
All right. At K Ottenheimer still on Twitter.
Yeah, but I don't really do stuff on that.
Okay. Do you
Feel
do
free.
Do you do anything?
I'll retweet
with
a
your
funny
life?
thing sometimes.
But like with your life.
Oh, no,
is there
not at all.
something? Okay.
I'm working on it.
If somebody needs a voice,
No, I mean, I have more
you
than
hear.
that.
You hear.
I'm strong. I have biceps.
He is a fairly healthy back.
That's healthy. Yours is the one that's disgusting.
It's a disaster. You should see what my shoulder looks like. My wife looked at my shoulder this morning and was just like, "That's not right."
What
and
happened?
I said,
"You have like extra bones."
I every now and then I'm in my gym cycles. I'm like, I'm gonna try to lift again, and then I'm like,
What do you? Hold on. Slow down, Chief.
Yeah.
Again.
every now and then I dabble in lifting.
You're acting like you were like in your 20s.
No, I'm
early
not trying to
20s,
suggest that I
like-
was on Muscle Beach.
It was like
You can go ahead and
creatine.
call- I know we got to call him.
Creatine and Gatorade. It's like all you had.
I'm
back
not
in
trying
the
to
day.
suggest I
Now
was
you're
hanging
like-
out with. You should watch the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the thing that they did on Netflix. That was wonderful, and the Sylvester Stallone one. They're both wonderful. They're just absolute. And in some world, I want them to actually do one together, where they're just talking about each other. The bit where
remember that Family Guy?
they would get pitched a bad movie, and there was such jealousy between the two of them. They were friends,
Yeah.
but there was such jealousy that they would try to leak to the other one that they were really excited about a movie when they knew it was bad, to try to get the other one to do
pretty
it
funny.
instead of them, is maybe my favorite thing that I've ever heard in my life.
That's pretty funny. That is pretty good.
All right, love you, buddy.
I'll hang him for a second. I'm not gonna
All right, very good. Let's continue on here on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of GCR. Of course, Ravens Chargers Sunday night on NBC. That means that we will be seeing our next guest, a friend of ours, author, creator of Pro Football Talk, show host, all of the many things he does. He's our buddy Mike Florio, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Mike, it's Glenn. It's good to catch up, brother. Thank you for taking the time for us as always.
Hey, great to be with you. Happy Thanksgiving one day early. And, best time of the year. We're getting into the crunch time in the NFL. And it all culminates in Super Bowl 58, and I currently have no idea who's going to get there.
Mike, I feel like this is the storyline when people will complain about the fact that, like, the Ravens don't look perfect. I'm like, are you guys watching football right now? Like, everyone is flawed. Like, there is no – I can't tell you – I get the Eagles have won the most games, and they just beat the Chiefs in Kansas City, and that matters. But, like, in any world do we think they're unbeatable? I have no idea why any of these teams wouldn't feel very good about the position they're in at the moment.
The one team that I think stands out among the rest is the 49ers, but their flaw is the way they play the game is conducive to getting their guys injured. They have a bunch of guys who roll out of bed and run through the wall, and sometimes the wall wins. And so it almost feels inevitable they're going to get to a point where one or two of their key guys or maybe more will be injured, and it makes it harder in games if that's the case.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, like, if it requires – I'm not trying to I get it. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. We know that at this point. But if it requires him for it to fall on his shoulders, I feel like we kind of learned a little bit about what that looks like earlier this season.
Well, that's right. And that's why he needs to have Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Trent Williams healthy. You take those guys out of the mix, it puts too much on Purdy, and it starts to fall apart.
What do you make of – we've been dealing with it all season long, Mike. The Ravens, we talk about their flaws, specifically, it's insane that the Ravens have led for 30 – they have trailed 30 minutes less than any other team in football this season. It's bonkers when you consider it that way, right? And yet they found ways to lose 3 games that they had absolutely no business losing. So we know they're a good team. We know they're a very good team. But the other part of the story has to matter, too, and it's 7 games over the course of the last 2 seasons that they've lost where, the ESPN rating said they had at least a 75% chance of winning in the fourth quarter. I don't know how to talk about it when we talk about what we know is a good football team.
Well, and it speaks to a flaw that is there, and it's still there, and you need to change that narrative. And it kind of relates to the other narrative that is going to come into play as we get closer and closer to the postseason.
Yeah.
Can they deliver in the playoffs? And so you may have both combined. A playoff game in Baltimore where they have a fourth quarter lead. Can they hold on and win the game, and that may exercise some demons and flip some narratives and put them in position to compete for a Super Bowl berth.
Yeah, the world might end in that moment as well, right? If we have to deal with all of those things at once. Mike Florio is with us, of course, from NBC and Pro Football Talk. He's on GCR. Mike, I know you made a lot about the thing with Joe Burrow last week. I feel like the people that are trying to sue the NFL, that's nonsense. But that it is a problem.
It's not. It's not
okay,
nonsense.
Take me
it's
through
not
it.
nonsense.
Take me through it.
It's inevitable.
Okay.
It's inevitable. Here's why. With all the money that's being wagered legally on gambling now, it's more incumbent than ever on the NFL to ensure that its rules regarding injuries are enforced. And we've seen multiple examples this year of teams playing fast and loose with the injury rules, whether it's Jalen Hurts never appearing on a single injury report, even though we all know he has a knee injury. Recently, they took Trevor Lawrence off the Jaguars injury report and then talked about how he's still injured. And I asked the league, what's up with that? And the league's response was to tell the Jaguars put him back on the injury report. So if Joe Burrow had a pre-existing wrist injury that resulted in, when he hit the ground last Thursday night, that ligament going, and they hit it, that is a relevant factor in the people who are legally wagering on deciding to pick the Bengals in that game to cover the spread. And if you tell them that Burrow's injured, they may not bet on that game at all, or they may flip their money over to the Ravens. It's just a matter of time. With all the money the NFL is pocketing from gambling, it really is just a matter of time before someone sues. And if the investigation shows that the team did hide the injury and the NFL does fail to enforce those injury report rules, the NFL is going to have a major problem, and currently they just don't care.
I guess the question would be, and I just don't. You're the lawyer, right? I'm not. Why is there a legal obligation for the NFL to tell anybody about injuries, right? Like I that's the part that I maybe don't. While we're used to it and they've done it for a long time, how is it enforceable by law that they have to have injuries and that they have to have that type of information available?
It becomes a fraud case. It becomes a misrepresentation case. They're putting information out there that they intend the general public to rely upon in making their decisions about who they're going to bet on. And meanwhile, the NFL isn't saying, you know what, I know gambling's legal in 35 states now, but we refuse to acknowledge it. We refuse to take a penny from any sports book in sponsorship dollars. We continue to hate gambling as much as we did before it was legalized. Before it was legalized, they hated it and they fought against it being legalized. Now it is a massive money grab. So the duty is to the general public. This is no different than buying stocks now. See, and because it's all done legally, it creates a governmental incentive either through the court system or through Congress or through some sort of agency that could be created at some point, like the SEC that regulates stocks. It's a matter of time. There's too much money involved, and there's too many potentially innocent victims who are saying, hey, I accepted that Joe Burrow wasn't on the injury report when I bet on the Bengals. And just because it's sports and just because you bet at your own peril, it's no different than buying and selling stocks. There's information out there that they're hiding, and that information is relevant to the decisions people make.
Interesting to see how this plays out. Man, it's tough for me because I feel like I know what you're saying, and I know that there is truth to it. It just sort of feels like it's where does this meet entertainment, and I guess there's going to be a court that's going to have a say in about what that looks like moving forward. Mike Florio with us here on GCR. Of course, Ravens Chargers Sunday night on NBC. Mike, how is this going to play out with Bill Belichick? Like, where is this going to go? When is it going to happen? Is he going to be as we watch the Chargers on Sunday night, could we be watching the team that's going to have Bill Belichick as their head coach next season?
There was the report on NFL Network October 29 that Bill Belichick has a lucrative contract that he signed in the offseason that covers multiple years. And I think someone close to Belichick put that out there to end the talk of Belichick being fired during the season. 3 weeks later, same network, same reporter says, oh, by the way, it was a brand new contract that covers 2023 and 2024, and the Patriots aren't inclined to fire him during the season because they like to trade his rights after the season. That put any team out there that's thinking about Bill Belichick on notice. You need to deal with the Patriots. And this is one of those categories of stuff that happens behind the scenes that we'll never exactly know what's happening until it happens. I think after the season, if they don't fire him right away, if there isn't a mutual parting, a resignation, a retirement, a firing right away, I think that it's just a matter of time before the first domino gets flicked and there's a team that gets permission to talk to him, and that team ends up working out a contract with him, and all that stuff will be predetermined. So I think right now is where, whether it's the Chargers, Buccaneers, Panthers, Commanders, somebody talking to the Patriots, talking to Belichick's agent, working everything out, and we'll see it play out after the season. If he's not gone in the first day or two after the Patriots season ends, that means there's somebody out there that's already got a deal lined up, and we'll find out when the dominoes start falling where he goes.
What is, and this is going to be a tough, my buddy Kyle Ottenheimer is in studio this morning. He's a Michigan man, so this will be a tough one for him. I remember you had talked a couple weeks ago about what this might look like if Jim Harbaugh is going to attempt to come back to the NFL, and whether the NFL will simply allow him to get back in scot-free. He's serving a penalty right now. I don't know what the NCAA is going to do after that. What is the reality for the possibility of Jim Harbaugh being back in the NFL next year?
Well, and this is another example of reporting that appears on the network that's owned and operated by the NFL. You know, people hear NFL Network and they think that the name has been licensed to some outside company. No, the league runs it. So when NFL Network has a report that whatever suspension the NCAA imposes on Jim Harbaugh might be duplicated by the NFL, even though there's no law or rule or bylaw that allows it, that tells me that they're thinking about trying to keep this guy out. And to put that out there now, to put that out there while owners are thinking about who they want to hire next year, that's the kind of thing that when the owners hear it, they think, all right, take Jim Harbaugh off the list. And I can't help but wonder whether or not at some level they're trying to put the kibosh on Harbaugh coming back to the NFL to placate college football. You know, they do a lot of genuflection to the altar of college football because college football gives them a free farm system. It develops players. Right. It makes it easier for them to figure out who's going to be able to come to the NFL, who's honing their skills, who should be drafted, and it costs the NFL not a single penny.
No, we've talked about that a lot over the years. It's been a great system for the NFL. There has been every reason for them to work hand in hand, and that is kind of wild to me that the NFL would almost say, like, no, we're going to let you keep him. Like, we're going to let you go ahead and do it that way instead of having him be an option for any team that needs a head coach in the offseason. That is a wild, wild thought. Mike Florio, I knew about Father of Mine. Do you have another book in the pipeline?
Yeah, it's a Christmas book that we actually posted one chapter at a time last year on the website. It's kind of like an advent calendar between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's called On Our Way Home. This year we printed it up. It's available ebook, $3.99 on Amazon, printed version $9.99, and every penny I make is going to our local animal shelter, the Humane Society of Harrison County. So we're trying to sell as many as we can. It's actually really good. I know I have a clear bias in saying that. Take my word for it. Trust me, it's good. But even if it's not, the money goes to a good cause.
I will look forward to that. It's a wonderful thing. I had no idea that was the case. That's awesome. We will make sure we share it as well on our social media. And then before we let you go again, because you're going to be there, we'll see you on Sunday night. We're still of the belief that Justin Herbert is, like, still really good, right? Like, we're not at the point where we're starting to question him, are we?
I think we're kind of getting there. Look, it's one thing to be a guy who is phenomenally physically gifted and can throw the football a mile and, you know, go out and play the position the way that you're expected to play it. But there are other qualities to be a great quarterback. You've got to be a great leader. You've got to be somebody who holds teammates accountable. You've got to be somebody who's working behind the scenes to solve problems. And I've had this criticism recently of Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. I just wonder whether they're doing enough to augment those great physical skills. I think about guys like Peyton Manning. I think about guys like Tom Brady. These guys need to stand up and take over, and I don't think they have the personality to do it, and they need to grow into that role to get the most out of the guys around them.
You know what? Tim just brought this up. I'm glad he did. What's going to happen with the hip drop thing, Mike? Where are we going with that?
Well, here's the problem. As much as it needs to go away, how do you tackle a guy when you are approaching him from behind? Because the idea is you get him on the ground, and if the replacement technique is you just tackle through him, if you're behind him, you're pushing him closer to the line to gain. You're pushing him closer to the end zone. It doesn't get him on the ground right now. Think about last week. If Logan Wilson, behind Mark Andrews, hits him and shoves him forward, it moves the ball closer to the end zone. So I think it's a dangerous technique. They need to come up with something else, but you have to be able to get the guy on the ground at the end of the day.
At Pro Football Talk, of course, is how you follow him, and, you know, NBC Sports, Sunday Night Football. Are you working tomorrow night as well, Mike?
Thank God, no. I have tomorrow night off, which means I can enjoy the game. I mean, I'm working, but I'm not working on NBC.
Good
so
for you.
It's going to be a nice day of food and a little wine and a lot of football.
Love that, man. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you, to your family. Always appreciate you. Thanks for spending a couple of minutes with us this morning, man.
Thanks, Tom.
Mike Florio, NBC Pro Football Talk. If you guys didn't see Kyle's face when Mike's...
Is it too late to get a Thanksgiving pizza? Is it like? Is
no,
it late
they didn't
now?
do it. They didn't do it. Last week was the last week.
Okay.
I appreciate you
All
putting it
right.
on.
I had the alarm.
Last week was the last week. If you guys should have seen Kyle's grin when Mike Florio,
Terrible news. Just awful.
Mike Florio
Gutted about
suggested that the NFL is going to say, let's not.
Just gutted.
Yeah, I know.
Can't believe.
That's a really wretched. And I know this has really hurt you, that the integrity of I thought Michigan stood for something.
I also do think that I don't know, right? Like, I don't know anything. But the whole, I can't help but believe there's some little bit of this that's like the Astros cheating back then, where teams are probably not eager to have them look into what they've been doing to try and get an advantage.
Look, I would love to tell you that Jim Harbaugh is the most evil man on the face of the planet.
It's Connor Stallion. He didn't know anything
that's
about
correct.
that.
Yeah, there's no way that Jim Harbaugh could have possibly known what was going on. That's a great point. What
are we even doing now, you know?
So I would love to tell you that. You know how I felt about the Astros thing. I just could not get all that worked up about it. I was not but that being said, I also said, I get it. They have to be penalized. They broke the rules.
Yeah, recording is a bit over the line, but I'm sure they're probably not the only team that did it.
And this is the weird bit, right? And every time you talk to somebody within football, they're like, dude, everybody's trying to steal signs. Like, we're not worked up about it. And I believe that to be true. With that being said, there is not documented evidence. I think the question, it goes back to this is a rule, but how are you making sure it gets no one does
How do you enforce this, right?
It would be very easy for just about anybody to do exactly what Connor Stallion
Or maybe just figure out a way to not be holding the cell phone the entire time and still record.
Something like that, right?
You know?
So there's a rule. You have to be punished for it. And
it's also a bit of a farce that, like, we are suddenly so in lockstep with the NCAA and their rules.
It's a very fine line. It's not about the NCAA. It's about if one team really was doing something that not everybody else was doing.
Sure. We'll never know, though.
You say we'll never know.
I think they don't want these skeletons revealed ultimately.
I don't disagree with that, but considering how quickly Michigan was trying to get a dossier on everybody else to try to deflect, I would think that if that was something that was going on, they would have had that by now. Michigan was throwing everything they could at the. Yeah, well, wait till you see all these other things these guys are doing.
Honestly,
this guy cheats on his taxes,
well, he probably
and
does.
He might.
Probably
This guy plays Monopoly with his kids, and he sneaks money out of the bank on Friday night.
I was going back through our old interviews
at
one point, and the Adley Rutschman one when he was in Pandemic came up, right?
Okay.
And he was talking about Monopoly. And we were talking to him about specifically...
Because he and his mom were very competitive.
Right. They were all locked up together, not locked up, but you get it.
Right.
Quarantining is the word we used.
Yes.
What
a time that was.
They played Monopoly. And we asked sort of like, who gets most competitive, what's like the source of the anger in these games, and he talked about how his dad has no real ethics when it comes to what is or isn't allowed in trades. And you were on the dad's side about how trading things in real life that are not in the game
everyone's in
is
agreement
fair
about it,
game.
if everyone's in agreement about it,
and you were like, I was in college, I was going to lose, I'm going to take a 6-pack of beer, and you were like the Denzel Washington, I'm leaving here with something kind of guy, you know?
When I was
keep it
at
in the game.
My freshman year at UMBC, we would play Monopoly, some buddies of mine and I, fairly regularly. I don't know why.
Because you didn't have real like social people who would go out, friends.
I mean, I think we had room for both things, if I remember correctly, Kyle. But I say fairly regularly. I think we did it like once every couple of weeks. We'd be like, let's play some Monopoly. It'd be like after a long night, and we would get to a point.
Sound that reminded me of Michael Cera and Superbad.
It was we had a really great night. We had we saw some people, and
it's great to just talk to people,
great.
like older people sometimes, like have conversations.
That's so great. So we would play, and you would get to a point in the game where I would realize I'm not going to win, but there was someone who wanted to win, that night really wanted to win. And then I would start calculating how I could still win. And as Kyle brings up, 1,000%, that person would look and say, I'll offer you, Oriental for, and I'm like, well, obviously I don't, or money, normally what they would do. They would try to string you along. Like, let me buy Boardwalk.
But where do you stand on this sort of thing happening in fantasy football?
John Proctor does it all the time, and we hate him. And we hate him.
Interesting.
I don't know if he actually trades very real.
Interesting.
But he makes terrible trades. He's a terrible.
We had a guy trade one time Gronk straight up, and this is when Gronk was Gronk.
Mm-hmm.
For the fact that I don't even remember who it was, maybe like it was like Drew Bennett or something like that,
so
right? And it was for a Chipotle burrito.
Okay,
That was what he got.
And that's the problem. The problem I have, right, is that it has to be agreed upon by the participants, right? Like
it shouldn't be allowed in any context.
There's
the integrity of the game and what you're participating in.
I would say in fantasy football, no. Fantasy football is a season-long competition between friends.
This is
there
more a
should never
statement about
be
your competitiveness
Monopoly
and your honor as a competitor.
is a game that you play.
Your honor as a competitor
on one
is
night,
just, nil.
And at one point during the course of the game, I saw an opportunity for me to come away with a win.
Sure,
like
sure, convenient.
Like you want Boardwalk? You got a 6-pack?
Griffin, where do you stand?
I
on
can walk out with that 6-pack, and you can have Boardwalk. And sure, I have now screwed over the other players in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's going to be another game tomorrow.
Interesting.
Like there's going to be another game at some point. That's the way it goes.
It's a theory.
Definitely.
And by the way, if you've got a better offer to make, by all means, make your offer.
A 7-pack?
A little grin on your face suggests you know.
I do know. 100% it was wrong. But I was also a freshman in college.
You've
so
learned now.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed, I think. If,
of course you'd be pretty pissed.
Yeah, if you gave him a 6-pack and he gave you
Yeah,
Boardwalk.
right.
Like, what if your son was like, I'll give, like, to Graham, Sam goes,
Yeah.
I'll give you a 6-pack of beer.
Oh, we got to deal with this with Pokemon cards. This is a thing, by the way.
Yeah?
Like
possessiveness?
No, like when one kid knows that a Pokemon card is valuable and will try to get it away from. I remember this
with trading cards like baseball cards.
With baseball
though,
cards,
yeah.
100%. Like I remember,
there's always a predator and the prey.
I remember
you know?
someone. I had a Michael Jordan rookie card, and someone offered me.
What'd you do with that? You keep that? Probably would have been like.
I'd like to know the answer. I'd like to know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Somebody offered me like a Tim Hardaway and somebody else that was like Kevin Johnson or something. And I was like, he offered me like 3 cards, and I'm like, in my mind, because I'm young and I'm stupid, I'm like, it's 3 cards. I like all those guys.
What year was this?
Right?
This is when Michael Jordan was still. It was pretty
90,
clear he was
I
going
think
to be
it was
a good
before,
player, right?
it was before his first. I don't know if he had won 3 titles yet, but he might have won
we
the
were
first.
reasonably sure he was going to be a good player.
We knew he was upper echelon.
Right.
It might have even been.
But 10-year-old Glenn Clark didn't.
Yeah. He
But
was
again-
like, these 3, though, could be Michael Jordan.
Exactly right.
The mystery
Magic
box.
beans are magic beans.
It's the mystery box of Family Guy.
Mystery box. It could even be a boat, right? Like it's the whole thing. And so I had to have my older cousin who witnessed this entire thing, like step in and be like, "The hell you
I need
are!
an adult in the
the
room right
hell
now."
you are!"
Right, yeah.
My like 13-year-old cousin comes flying in to save the day. Like you are.
And so
not
something similar happens with Pokemon cards?
This happens all the time with Pokemon cards. All the time.
I had some
We
good
have-
ones back in the day. I had some like
we have
original
issues-
set that probably would
like,
be worth
we
real money
get
that are
emails
just somewhere
in
the
like a group
landfill.
about like be careful, little Steven from the 3rd grade
For real?
class is trying to make shady
There's like
trades.
a subreddit for this
There's like
elementary
a
school's
whole, I'm
Pokemon
not even kidding,
scandal?
There's like a text thread that we're convinced the parent of this kid might be involved. Like he's a hustler.
This is a whole scheme.
It's a whole. Well, what's that?
What was
What's the
it,
guy?
Martinez,
Blake,
right?
Blake
Yeah,
Martinez,
Blake Martinez.
right? Like we
Yeah,
are
not a good
convinced.
look.
No, it's definitely not.
It's a better look when you just leave to sell Pokemon cards and just
much
you
better.
know
Much
people always
better.
are looking at that like with a fond outlook.
All right, quickly. Would you rather Wednesday? Would you rather Wednesday? Somebody who participates will win.
Me?
Oh,
Like me?
Proctor's mad. Proctor.
What did I say?
Mad. You besmirch my good name, sir.
Oh.
Yeah, because he said before I said it, he said, "Oh, but you dogpile on my fantasy football trades." Like, well, yes, you make terrible trades. They're terrible. They're dreadful.
I was just merely pointing out the inconsistencies.
Right? He said, "This is good." He said, "There are like 8-9 people listening to this broadcast, and they'll all think less of me now. I smell a lawsuit."
I might get in on that class action.
Yeah, you're gonna
against
get
the
on
NFL,
it.
you know?
You're gonna oh yeah. Did you bet on the Bengals last week?
No, I switched it. I had that was the only.
It's the
pick
reason
that
why
I
Griffin
switched.
had to,
it's the reason I
Griffin
lost.
had to eat a McFlurry-burger.
It was the only pick that I switched. There were like 3 or 4 that I switched last minute that worked. And so if I hadn't, I would have been fine. I would have just been a shameful Ravens fan. But I went to that game. It was all right.
So did you? The atmosphere seemed to be great.
It was fun.
It seemed like it was more electric than games have been in recent years.
I don't go to many games, so I can't say.
Okay,
You
fair
know,
enough.
like,
Thanks
but-
for that observation.
But when I
Really-
was busy
really
on
dialed
Sundays
back.
all those years, I was producing this fantasy and reality football show.
That's true. Well, that was in the morning.
I'm not gonna. I want to tailgate and have the whole experience. I'm just gonna like
Actually,
rush down to the stadium.
You know what?
You know.
Most things you say are stupid, but that's actually a good point. That's actually a good point.
Thank you.
I'll give you that.
All right.
Would you rather Wednesday? Would you rather, number 1, the Ravens are not going to win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
Pass.
Stop. It's in either scenario, the Ravens are not winning the Super Bowl. In scenario 1, it's because they lose to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Or in scenario 2, it's because they lose to Joe Flacco and the Browns in the AFC Championship game. which would you rather? Kyle, I'll let you start. You do not get to Kyle it up.
The complicated thing is just the Browns, right? Like, it was Flacco for any team that we didn't have feelings for.
This is why it works.
Let it be Flacco.
100%,
We love Flacco.
yes.
Of course it's Flacco.
If Joe Flacco was the quarterback of the Houston Texans, every single one of us would say Houston Texans.
You said AFC Championship too, right?
AFC Championship game.
Yeah. Have the Browns ever won a Super Bowl?
No, most certainly have not. They've never been.
They've been around for a while,
They've never
too.
been to a Super Bowl.
They've been around for a while.
Well, there was
they
a couple years there where they weren't.
They
But
won
other than
championships, though, right? Like
they
before it was the Super Bowl.
Yes, pre-Super Bowl
we
they
don't
did
count
win.
those.
Yes, correct.
Good luck with that.
Except for the 1958 championship, that one counts.
Okay, fair.
All the rest of them do not.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
Chiefs, I think, because I don't.
You
don't
just
want
want to keep the Browns.
I don't want the Browns to have anything to celebrate, especially they would never, ever, 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 ever shut up about it.
Yeah, that part is true. There's no doubt about that.
Man, it would be really cool to see Joe Flacco lead the Browns like that. But yeah, I mean, because then I think everyone's gonna remember Joe Flacco in a Browns jersey too, if he were to somehow pull this off. It'd feel kind of embarrassing to lose to Justin Watson in the
that's
in
a
the Kansas
bad
City
receiving
Chiefs.
core to lose.
But yeah, I mean, you can still say it's Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. So yeah,
defense,
I think
they're both defenses.
The defense is good. Yes.
So I think I will lean. I'm sorry, Joe, but I will lean the Chiefs.
It is probably about 65-35 in favor of the Chiefs for all the reasons we're talking about. I did have somebody say, if Joe wins a second Super Bowl, does that make him a Hall of Famer?
He'll win it next year with a different.
And I don't think so. And I had to think about it for a second. To me, I don't believe so. I don't believe that changes.
What are the career numbers with him versus Manning?
It not good, not quite close enough. Not quite close enough that I think that it gets it. Also,
I get it. Manning was like David and Goliath.
And look, I think there's a much more complicated argument about Eli Manning than
so
anybody
weird
wants to
how
have.
I love him now.
You do?
Those broadcasts are fun, man.
What is it with you people watching that? I'll never understand that.
It's a fun time. It's a fun time. And also, it's interesting to see. I mean, look, Peyton Manning is one of the smartest football minds of all time, right? I love seeing him scrutinize it in
I'd like to see him be the
over-
analyst of the football game.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. But I love seeing him get so upset about timeouts.
Yeah.
It's one of the most fun things.
Yeah, what he's screaming, call timeout,
He's just
timeout.
always upset with the other offenses.
Now
It's
would be a
just
good
so
hearing.
fun to watch.
I do like that.
He was saying the Eagles were running a lot of old Colts plays last.
I heard that.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, but that's where
because Sirianni started in Indy. And,
Correct.
It's also a decent offense to take from, you know?
Yeah, I would suggest it. Correct. I think it's the correct answer. I don't think you can have the Browns win it. I don't think
would just
that's
never shut up.
I don't think we can go into that.
For as much as Cleveland hates Baltimore and the Ravens,
yes,
they would never.
No, I think it's a Pandora's box that we as a society do not need. I think we should just make sure that we never open said box and leave it alone there.
Yeah.
Number 2, I just brought it up with Mike Florio. You're the Chargers. You need a head coach next season. Would you rather your head coach be Bill Belichick?
You need a shaman. That's what you need.
And you got to stop. You. This is where you're going to Kyle it up.
What do you mean?
You got to be capable of not thinking about the Michigan side of this.
What do you mean?
Would you rather be Bill Belichick or Jim Harbaugh? You cannot.
What do you mean?
Answer the question based on, I don't want Jim Harbaugh to leave.
Maybe you could coach
got to
both.
think about. Yeah, it could be both. You only allowed to think about the Charger side of this.
Well, of course you'd rather have Harbaugh.
Because
he's the better coach.
Because he's the better coach.
Objectively.
That's our guy. That's all. Kyle Ottenheimer. Kyle Ottenheimer, the day that I told him to call Jim Harbaugh,
He answered. I talked to him.
He talked to him,
Yeah,
booked him,
but
and then he
didn't answer
ghosted
again.
on us.
He was on his private plane flying
Like,
somewhere up flyover state, probably to talk to an offensive lineman.
If you could have seen, Kyle was shaking afterwards.
That was like the old studio. That was the one we were in the
downstairs,
flood
100%.
risk, yeah.
Kyle was shaking. Like, he walks back into the other room like, it was wild, Jack. And then, Jim Harbaugh didn't answer his
We did have
phone.
Jack on once, though, didn't we?
We had Jack on a couple times. When Muhammad Ali passed away, Jack was
yeah.
telling us some wonderful Muhammad Ali
I
stories.
told you that I was close with Muhammad Ali's. I guess it was his stepson.
No, you didn't tell me that.
At Michigan, he went to Michigan with
Oh,
him.
okay, that's cool.
His
That's neat.
mom ended up, or his friend's mom, I should say, ended up. He was hanging out at Muhammad Ali's house all the time.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah.
I met him a few times when I lived in Phoenix. He lived in Phoenix, so
Yeah, I mean,
he would he would just show up at events casually, like he wasn't Muhammad Ali. Like you
He
would
was
go
cool
to
as hell, yeah.
you would go to like the Baltimore boxing equivalent, like the Jake the Snake Baltimore boxing events, which I love Jake. I love everything that he does. I love all that. But they're low level.
I mean, it's not Muhammad. But,
You would show up at the equivalent of that in Phoenix because they like spent some advertising dollars with you. They'd be like, hey, could you come out to the, whatever they called it out there, the Shogun fights, that type of. And Muhammad Ali would just be there. Like, not announced, not like special guest tonight.
Man of the people.
Muhammad Ali would just be there.
He's a beast.
And
Truly.
it was.
In every possible way.
It was so wild. It was so wild. All right.
I'd hire Muhammad Ali, actually, for the coach.
Yeah, that'd be, well, I don't think he's available.
But
so sorry.
It's would you rather. We can make this a hypothetical, right?
God, of course. There's our guy. Yes, Griffin.
Belichick. Belichick is the answer.
I'm torn on this because somebody.
I think Harbaugh needs to go save Bryce Young.
Somebody brought it up.
I don't know if Belichick's the guy to get the most out of Herbert.
I don't know if you do.
So
you may just need to stab his way.
He's definitively not the guy to get the most out of Herbert, but
McDaniel might.
That's the thing that somebody brought up on Twitter and said it can't be Belichick because he's bringing McDaniels with him, and I was like, son of a bitch. You might be right. I might have to choose Jim Harbaugh in that situation.
Would you rather have Matt Patricia or Josh McDaniel as your offensive coordinator? Because that's this.
How did it work?
It didn't.
How did any of this work?
Well, the Matt Patricia experiment didn't.
That's true. God, how did ever? I guess Charlie Weiss was pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess he was all right.
He was there, and then he took the Notre Dame job, and
it's never the same. All right, and number 3, would you rather every Friday for the rest of your life?
I like Fridays.
You're eating a full Thanksgiving meal as your Friday dinner.
What do you mean by full? Like
my
portion or everything on the table?
The whole thing.
What do you mean? What I normally eat or everything on the table?
What do you not eat on Thanksgiving?
No. I mean, they put the food out on the table for
you don't
family.
have to eat the entire turkey.
Okay.
I'm saying you're eating, but you're eating like you would on Thanksgiving.
Right.
You're having a full Thanksgiving meal.
But it is a fresh turkey
every Friday. What's that?
It's fresh turkey
is it
every
freshly
Friday?
prepared every Friday?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Start working out more.
Yes. Every Friday for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life, a full Thanksgiving meal or never another Thanksgiving meal ever again in your life.
Sign me up. I'll do it. I mean, the worst part is just how much weight I'll gain. That's my least favorite part about all of this because I go in on Thanksgiving. You're not gonna get Manny Jackson's autograph.
Exactly,
you know.
Right. Put that on the soundboard, please.
You're welcome. It would just be gluttonous.
I'm assuming you've watched Step Brothers. We've had him doing movie reviews recently.
Yes, of course.
What was the most egregious one he hadn't seen? I had some.
I mean, a lot. There have been a lot. He's younger than you. Like he's basically watched nothing.
But it's also a similar affliction. It's just like we don't believe in things that we're not happening.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
live,
Tommy Boy, I guess was pretty.
You
bad.
haven't seen that?
No.
What is wrong with you?
Thank you. This is what I deal with.
Wedding Crashers.
Every single one of them was a romp. Like every time he came in, he's like, "Dude, that movie's great." I'm like,
course.
"I know."
Why didn't you tell me to watch
That's why I
this?
told you to watch the movie, Griffin.
Griffin, if you
I didn't
wanna
say
do
go watch a crappy movie.
A defiant one for Glenn that he doesn't believe is funny that actually is.
Don't watch Hot Rod. It
It's
sucks.
Hot Rod.
Oh,
You
it sucks.
should watch
Hot Rod is
Hot
the
Rod
most.
is
It's
so
very
great.
And by the way, sucks is the wrong word.
It's incredible.
Just nothing.
It's so funny. It's so great.
All right, what's you're doing it. You're doing it.
I'll do it. I love Thanksgiving food. I get it. It would make it not great. It would make you sort of desensitized to it.
I think it would ruin your Thanksgiving.
But you'd never be able to have one again. That's what you'd rather have.
You'd
like your Grinch, Mr. Grinch. You're like,
those scenarios,
humbug.
there would be something else to eat on
would
Thanksgiving.
at least
I've got an
enjoy-
Italian family. We could have delicious lasagna on Thanksgiving. We could go that route.
Everybody else isn't going to just sign up. Oh, Glenn can't eat it. We have to
Well, then
have
I'll
everybody
prepare
else to
my
eat
own.
Something else. You're a terrible
Do
cook.
that. I'm not at all.
I'm joking.
I made that rum ham
I know,
for you.
I know.
Lovingly.
I wish I would have gotten drunk off of it.
Yeah, it would have been great if you could have gotten drunk off that rum ham. You didn't have it. I made a turkey last year. I made a Cajun turkey
Did
last
you?
year.
Did you
It was
spatchcock it?
wonderful. I didn't spatchcock it. But I injected that sumbitch.
Yeah,
I was like, how about a little more? And maybe one for
Don't you ever
Dad.
wonder how that works? Does it just sit in a pocket? Does it it doesn't disperse
Yeah,
throughout
it's
the
not.
meat?
That's not how meat works,
just a
right?
little
Like you're
pocket of
100%
it.
right about
Yeah.
that. I think in the cooking process, it
I
does
don't
seep
know.
in a little bit
I
more.
wonder sometimes.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
God,
of
it was
course.
wonderful. All right, what are you doing?
Yeah, the first one. I'll take Thanksgiving every week.
Too much, man.
Never have it again.
Do it, dude. I don't want that. I'm not saying I'm not interested in that. But in the two
Is
scenarios,
there any meal that you would have that you'd sign up for that though?
every week.
Yeah. Because I don't think there is for like that. I would be like, okay, if it were this, I'd be excited.
Burgers on the grill. If every Friday night for the rest of my life it was burgers on the grill.
I guess it kind of was pizza night when you were a kid.
It was 100% pizza night when you
Pizza
were a
and
kid.
movie Blockbuster back
pizza
in the
and
day.
Taco
TGIF,
night.
baby.
I love
We would
taco
sit around,
night.
watch Boy Meets World, watch Family Matters, watch.
You go to Blockbuster and
as-
watch what you chose back
correct.
in the day. You know.
Oh, God, those were the days, man.
You know.
We'd rent Road Trip every weekend for 17 straight
What was
weeks.
the first R
on the
movie you
list.
ever saw?
answer to that, Kyle. I will assume it was The Exorcist because it's the first. Oh, Rosemary's Baby. I remember watching.
I feel like back in the day, R movies were weird. It was like R movies should be every like PG-13 or PG movie would have been R these days. You know, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was rated PG.
Oh my God, really?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it was.
I mean, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles isn't bad. I would let
got
my
colorful
kids watch
language,
it.
right? Like that's
dude. Every time I let the kids watch Home Alone, I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Right.
Like we really.
I saw Basketball.
We really went for it. That was a children's movie.
I saw Basketball when I was like 7.
Yeah, that's a bit aggressive. I told the story of going to the theater with my father to see Starship Troopers. And so my father loved the TV show Starship Troopers, so he was very excited. I think I was 13 when it came out. Look up what year Starship Troopers came out.
Let me guess.
Casper
I want to
Van
say
Zandt.
96.
I was thinking 96 or 97, somewhere in that
96.
range. I was not old enough to drive, for sure. I was 13, 14, somewhere in that range.
It was a similar time as Mars Attacks. I remember being a Mars Attacks guy.
Starring the legendary Jim Brown, of
Yeah.
course, the late, great Jim Brown, the star of Mars
What
Attacks.
year?
I'm saying 97.
I got 96.
He's 97.
Ah!
Yeah.
So we go to see Super Troopers, or not Super Troopers. We go to see Starship Troopers. My father's very excited about it, right? Like this was his birthday.
Okay.
We go on a school night. To see Starship Troopers. And the first scene of Starship Troopers is a gratuitous shot of women showering. And they're all naked.
It's just setting the stage, you know?
I swear to God.
And then you were like,
I'm
Dad,
just sitting
I
there
love
like,
you, you know?
Happy birthday, Dad!
It's like, this is the most important moment of my life.
God, what a day that was.
And then he was
it
like, earmuffs,
wonderful.
eye muffs.
They
whatever.
took us to the drive-in, and I want to say, I wish I could
Is he
remember.
in old school?
Yeah.
Who? Yeah, that was
Yeah,
on,
it was
we
on the
made
list.
him. That
Yes,
was
it
on.
was on the
Oh,
list.
we've gone through a whole bunch.
Okay.
What's on the?
What
What are
about
the
Kingpin?
next on the list? I like Kingpin. I don't
love
feel
Kingpin.
as strongly. What are the next?
Well,
on
just
the
because
list?
I haven't seen something about Mary.
Oh yeah, that's
a
gonna have to
classic.
be next. That's
Yeah.
gonna
That's
have
a
to be next on the
classic.
list.
Big Lebowski. Now Hot
Brett
Rod as
Favre's
well.
finest performance,
No,
probably.
we're not putting Hot Rod on the list. We also went to the drive-in movie
should do.
theater
You
once,
should.
and I wish I could remember what the first movie is. It would have been like Aladdin or something. It was a kids movie first.
Yeah.
In the double feature, the second film
Sounds like a bait and switch.
was Nutty Professor, right?
The Crumps?
The first one.
The Clumps.
first,
It was the Clumps,
yes, the
right?
first Eddie Murphy Nutty
Yeah,
Professor.
yeah. He hadn't
And
quite
so-
taken on the role of every other buddy in the
Correct.
family at the time.
Correct. Not,
you know?
Well, I mean, there was a scene where he was playing everybody in the family. In the first one.
Hercules.
Except for the kid, obviously. He didn't play the kid.
Well,
Everybody
CGI
else.
wasn't quite perfected
Not,
at the
not
time.
quite what it was now. And I remember, like, the first scene at the dinner table, my father just being like, and he couldn't figure out what to do in that
Were
moment.
you boxed in? Like, the drive-in is such where you park your car. Could you get
No,
out?
but like he didn't want to make a bigger thing out of it by leaving. It makes it a bigger deal, right?
For everyone else
If-
or for you?
For me, if he
It's acknowledging
this
you
is
weren't
one
supposed
of
to see
one
this
of the
kind of
things
thing?
that you learn about parenting is if you just play it cool,
They won't
then
think
like
too much about
they
it.
don't think
Right,
that
yeah,
all that much about it.
Sure,
If you make it seem like it's a big deal, then they realize like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this, and they want to do it.
Right.
So my father was caught in that moment, and I was old enough to recognize the moment that was unfolding in front of me, where like I was dying. I
You
mean,
were
I was
dialed in. You were like,
I was pissing
you were
myself.
like, I'm not going to get this chance
Like,
again
yeah,
for
right?
a while, you know?
And it's genuinely funny,
Oh, it was.
right?
That was a
Like
great
it's
movie.
genuinely great. So it was a real moment that we were having at that point.
That was a good movie. That was.
I have to take another commercial break, don't I?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Son of a bitch.
I remember these days.
God damn it. We're going to go to one.
Are your tidbits any good these days, Griffin?
I think so.
What?
I
Some
set a high
days.
bar, and I don't think
Some
anyone's
days.
met it.
Some days.
I don't think anyone's met it. People can't do the delivery.
Remember when he was
going
to stay for another couple minutes? He was like, I'll stay for another
Well, I
minute,
really
so I'll
thought
probably
you
leave.
said I'm going to talk to Mike Florio.
Yeah.
And that used to be language for we pre-recorded this.
Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, you could have if you wanted
That's
to.
what I
You could've
thought.
said
Because
hello.
I've always said to Drew, he was like, yeah.
Oh, I would do that all
he
the
doesn't
time.
want to talk to you, you know.
Sometimes we do that with Stan. We did it. We concocted a whole bit because Stan
He doesn't
does,
necessarily know what you're talking
Stan
about.
does
sometimes. I'll be
every
like,
no, he knows.
Good.
Stan does every
Love Stan.
Friday with us now. And like one week, I had to pre-record with Tarico, and I was like, Stan, hey,
was pumped.
I gotta talk to Tarico.
Yeah.
And Stan was like,
Oh, cool. Yeah, something like that.
and I said, oh yeah. The thing is, he didn't want to talk to me. Like he heard about a thing. And
It's mean to do to
so
Stan.
we've
For
created-
Drew, it, you know, it's
Oh,
easy.
There are
Easy.
legitimately people that would say, I would prefer. Like if I gave him could either come on with me on Tuesday or with Drew and I on Wednesday. They said, you know what, Tuesday sounds great. Let's do Tuesday. That's a perfect day. All right, Kyle's here. We're gonna get a break. We got to get a tidbit. We got to get Tubular to wrap it up. As it has been a fun Would You Rather Wednesday show. Get me your responses for Would You Rather Wednesday at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. Somebody's going to win a shirt of their choice from Birdland Sports. Don't forget, print issue a press box. Only a couple more weeks before this one's gone in favor of our best of issue. So get out to your neighborhood Royal Farms right now and pick it up before it disappears. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door. Just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code GlennClark23, GLENNCLARK23. So bet with the best and use the promo code GlennClark23 this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What's up, everyone? It's Tyus Bowser, and I've had so much fun hanging out with Rita and putting up with Glenn the last couple years that I've decided to do it again. Season 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show is happening this year, as we'll be all over town, giving you the chance to get to know me and some of my teammates. As we talk football, life in general, and just say what needs to be said. You can find out more about the show by going to PressBoxOnline.com/Bowser. If you don't live in the area, you can watch the shows live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you miss one, you can listen Friday nights at 105.7 The Fan. So we'll see you all season long for the Tyus Bowser Show, a partnership of PressBox and Great Ace Memorabilia.
There's so much focus on sports betting these days, but I want to talk about an area that nobody wants to gamble on, where you choose to go out and spend your hard-earned dollars to eat. The Costas Inn is no gamble at all. The quality on their menu is outstanding, and the value is off the charts with a great and varied list of specials Monday through Friday. And the staples of the menu, whether it's salads, burgers, fish, they're all fantastic. And I haven't even mentioned the crabs or crab cakes yet. So check out the menu for yourself at CostasInn.com. When choosing a place to dine, never gamble on the food you put in your belly. The Costas Inn at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or call 410-477-1975 for reservations and your steamed crab orders.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Visit Harford County. Gear up for the holidays by supporting local with Small Business Saturday on November 25th. Take in the dazzling sights of the season with a Ladue Christmas at Ladue Topiary Gardens. Enjoy holiday lights, sing along to holiday songs, reserve a carriage ride, and sit on Santa's lap in Bel Air's Winter Wonderland, happening every Saturday from November 25th until December 16th. Nothing sparks that holiday joy quite like a festive parade. Head to visitharford.com and click on Events to see the full list of parades and so much more. In Maryland, you're welcome.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Hey Ravens fans, looking for the perfect new game day brew? Get a Guilford, Baltimore's finest craft beer during the next home game at the bank. That's not all. Gather your flock next home game and check out Guilford Hall Brewery's brand new bar, the Gilly Nest, located near Section 505. No tickets? No problem. Enjoy all Ravens games all season long at our restaurant and brewery in Station North. Guilford Hall Brewery, European tradition, Baltimore charm.
Sure, Glenn may be in his 40s now, but he looks just as good as he ever has, and he's still as sharp as he ever was. And I say both those things without even a shred of irony. Find out for yourself right now by watching the show at facebook.com/PressBoxSports or youtube.com/PressBoxOnline.
I actually could have used you for voicing a spot this week. I actually had to do
what
one.
was it for?
Guilford Hall Brewery. Establishment I love a great deal. Big fan of Guilford Hall Brewery. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. I just went ahead and did it myself. Like
Probably
a
not
jerk.
as good.
No, it probably wasn't. Honestly, that was a strength of old KOs. Kyle Ottenheimer in studio with us this morning. He and Griffin consumed their McFlurry-burgers already.
It was not great.
It was definitely unpleasant, but it doesn't linger. What was the one that we did where God, there was a smell that still existed
with you?
No, yeah, it was. We didn't even have it. It was the brine. It was the tuna juice that was just in the room. Yeah, we didn't have to do it, but that's what it was.
I did.
We did that.
Yeah, you were an idiot.
We did the real cheeseburger where we did the
there's
20
nothing
slices.
that has effed my stomach up more than that. I swear to God.
What was it?
Remember Burger King did in Thailand a burger.
It was so much cheese. It was all the cheese.
It was
on top?
just 20 slices of Kraft American cheese.
Only cheese, no burger.
No burger, just cheese.
In between two.
Did you eat the whole thing?
I think we each had a third. Because I think Carson
it wasn't a
here?
bet.
Yeah.
I think we just did it.
It was over the summer because.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Who hasn't been drunk before at their friend's
Not
house?
that.
and gone to their fridge and opened it up and been like, you know what? I could do with just a whole slice of Kraft American right now.
Kraft
I'm not
singles,
saying it's because it's what I want. I'm saying
don't.
it's what's there. You know? You're like, I just want something right now. And damn it, I'm drunk enough.
I would say,
Glenn's about to know.
here's no.
Glenn knows what I'm talking
I know exactly what you're talking about. But what I would say is the pain of going to someone's cheese drawer, hoping.
Only seeing.
My
I hear
mother-in-law keeps a hell of a cheese drawer, right? Like there's some Baby Bell in there. There's
Those
always
are fun
some.
to peel.
They are fun to peel.
Get the
There's
wax at the
always
end.
there's always something.
Eat the
good.
wax too, you know.
One time she was getting ready to leave on like vacation. Yeah, that was the sandwich. That was what we consumed. That's entirely.
As they say,
it's an abomination.
That's too much cheese.
Yes, correct. That is what they say, right? I've heard them say that a lot of times. So I went there one time thinking like, oh, she's leaving. I'm gonna go raid the cheese drawer at my mother-in-law's house. And I walked in, and all that was in there was Kraft singles. And you have that
She's on to
moment
you.
where you're like,
she knows. She's like Glenn's coming.
well, there
You
is
gotta
probably
hide the
some
cheese,
of that.
you know?
But it's more like I was expecting cheese. I guess I'll go ahead and take one of them there Kraft singles. And then you're like, it's cheese. And then you put it to your mouth, and you realize the hell it is.
It's
It
sort
is
of like
not
it's sort of like eating
cheese.
peanut butter, where you're like you got the gummy mouth situation. You know, it's something. It's not real cheese.
It's more to me what it does to your stomach.
I'm
like
not-
a Kraft single.
I've never in my
impacts-
life bought American cheese.
Why
I want
would
to make
you?
that clear.
No, I
The
would.
deli
I'm
American
gonna push
cheese
back.
sometimes
Deli
can be
American
okay.
cheese is. I not only would say it's okay. I think deli American cheese can be good.
My dad will buy it, and I'll have some every now and again.
Yes.
It's useful. It melts nice. It's all fine. You know, like. But
I enjoy deli.
I still
American
prefer cheddar. I prefer Swiss. You know.
I also don't. If you are grilling and you have to use Kraft singles,
it melts nice.
It melts just fine.
For a grilled cheese,
and
it's a
it
good cheese.
no longer
you know?
impacts you in
For
the
a grilled
same
cheese,
way.
it's a good cheese as well.
But just as a plain slice of cheese.
Now, having said that, I in my life have eaten plain slices of cheese that are Kraft singles. Never would I want 24 of them.
God, it was that one. I'm telling you, my stomach was not right for a week.
What was the one? You were really messed up by another thing in your stomach. was
The
really
bull
messed
balls
up.
did a
Yeah.
number to me. The bull
So you
balls.
threw up
it was
after
too
one
much.
time.
I threw up a few of them. The what was the sandwich? We did birch beer, and was that with the peanut butter mayonnaise sandwiches?
No, we didn't have the birch beer with that. I don't think, did we?
What was the birch beer?
That was
with
a
then?
part of one of that was the good part of one of our challenges.
That was the good part.
It was like a big thing of
I
birch
remember.
beer.
I remember smelling the birch
It was
beer
like
in my
32
puke.
ounces of birch beer and then something else alongside.
Oh,
you lost a bet for this. It wasn't just
it
like
was
for
so
let's just
bad.
do this kind of thing.
But what are we? How have we not evolved at any point? I'm 10 years into this, and at no point have I said to myself like, we don't need to do this any longer. We could do something else. You got a side bet for this week? You got something in mind?
No. I mean, I want to make you since we've been talking about it this week. I want to make you eat that pepper mayo sandwich at some point.
There
Pepper
is that.
mayo?
You don't remember that one from last year? Richard Petty, who he thought
it was a bunch of
who
pepper
he
mayo.
thought was Tom.
No,
Petty.
I mean, I knew I
He
knew it
said-
was. I just
he
said
you
Tom
know it was
Petty.
a Tom Petty sandwich.
I just said Tom
It was
Petty.
just a
Longer.
bunch of pepper and
Noted
mayo. right?
NASCAR champion
Yes,
Tom Petty.
it was
Yeah,
horrible.
it
It
was
was
It
horrible.
looked like it was almost like the cinnamon challenge.
You know,
yeah,
I bet it was like
but
that.
and it was so much worse because it was I don't know, it was just it was
it was
black pepper.
That was pure. All right, Griffin, tell everybody what's going on at Live Casino and Hotel.
If luck wasn't on your side, I had Tennessee plus 3.5. They lost by 4 last night to Purdue. It was really bad. But if luck wasn't on your side at a recent bet at FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, you can get ready to turn those losses into winning opportunities with the Second Chance to Win promotion. And between now and January 4th, 2024, all Live Casino and Hotel Maryland Rewards members will be able to enter their losing bet slips into the Second Chance to Win drum. And then 2 nights a week, 20 different winners will be chosen with prizes ranging from Live Casino and Hotel Maryland apparel, sports and social, ultimate happy hour, cash, and free play worth up to $500. Drawings will be held every Thursday and Monday over at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino Hotel in Maryland.
Very good. Tidbit.
Adirondack Mill, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Tidbit is brought to you today by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. A Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
In the final game, the second semifinal of the Maui Invitational, Marquette defeated Kansas
They
pretty
were,
easily.
They were getting there was some like fisticuffs at one point or something.
Was
like
there?
that, wasn't? I thought they were.
Was it at the end?
Things got a little
Polik
heated.
he's a good passer.
He is. You're right about that.
You know who's my sleeper team this year?
Hey, you know who can go F themselves? Hunter Dickinson.
Okay, cool.
What about Nick
I thought
Kimberly?
you should hate him too now, right?
I do. It's like, yeah, whatever.
We should be able to bond over hatred of Hunter Dickinson.
UMass Lowell, I've been betting on them a lot. That's my sleeper team.
Again, if you or a loved one has a gambling problem,
You look.
please call
You just wait.
1-800-GAMBLER. Visit
Well, I'll look into them.
They're already top like 130 or 140.
What are they, the
in Ken Palm.
Riverhawks? They're the
Yeah, they are.
Riverhawks.
They are.
Yeah,
they're
the
top
Riverhawks.
140 in Ken Palm.
All right. Is Maryland? I'm not sure they
So
are.
sure, to be honest.
Not sure they
They
are.
have in there. They don't have enough shooters. I can tell you.
They don't have any
They
shooters.
don't have any shooters, so they can just collapse it on Julian Reese,
100%.
and then they can't do
There's
it.
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So they are the first team in D1 history to beat two teams with a combined 15-plus national championships on back-to-back days after beating UCLA last night.
I think I saw they're the first team
beating
to
Kansas.
beat. Yeah, I saw another stat
Yeah,
that was like
that
that.
was
I got to
like
try to
this.
remember what it was.
But yeah, Marquette doing those things. Zach Edey.
And then tonight they get
Purdue.
Purdue. Yeah.
Yes, so that'll be a good one. Marquette and Purdue. Zach Edey in the game right before that one, he became the first D1 player with at least 110 points, 50 rebounds, and 15 blocks over his first 5 games of a season.
How about that?
Sorry, the first player since 2006. Do you know who did it in 2006?
It's so weird with Zach Edey because like there's a part of you that's like, dude, you shouldn't be here.
I hear you.
Like it's so awkward because like I guess it's amazing, but at the same time,
it's still hard not to watch. Like when he's
you really know it's not amazing because what's really happening is like you're not good enough to.
Yeah.
Like everybody else graduated.
Did they
and
fix
you're
their
still-
uniforms?
Who?
Their numbers on the back of their uniforms are like 9-point font. They're the smallest thing on Zach Edey's back. It takes up, I'd say, 1/8 of the entire real estate available.
Such a large back.
It's
Why
not
do you
only
know
him.
that?
It's bothered me before.
It's so weird.
It's bothered me before. It's not as bad as Drew and his Pat the Patriot thing.
All right. What? Who? The
first player
team?
since 2006 with 110, 50, and 15 blocks through the first 5 games.
That wouldn't be Tyler Hansborough.
No, it
'cause
was
that
not
a
Tyler
little bit after that.
Hansborough.
Hey,
2006 might have been Greg Oden.
It was not Greg Oden.
No, he only did 1 year, and it was 07, I think.
It was the 06-07 season. Yeah, when this happened.
Joakim Noah.
No.
It's a good guess, though.
Al Horford.
No, not Al Horford.
Blocks is where you're getting me. It's
Right.
where, like, who was getting blocks
He was
like
a
that
lengthy
back
guy.
then? Roy Hibbert?
Not Roy Hibbert.
How about? I'm trying to think of who was it. That wouldn't be Sean May.
It was not Sean May.
He didn't get blocks. He wasn't that much of an athlete, really. He was like a big boy.
Big.
He went to school.
We might need it at some
Never
point.
seen a big boy grill on the roof. You know, that's like that, you know?
That's exactly what it's
yeah. Oh, man. 06, 07. Duke. Who did Duke have? Sheldon Williams?
It was not
That
Duke.
was earlier.
Yeah, I think it was earlier. It wasn't Duke. How about? God, I am really struggling to come up with who else would have been.
Is it going to have any tie into us locally? Or is it going to be like,
no. I mean, well.
Because I would always look for hopes
I guess
that would
like kind of there
Glenn
is.
would hate himself for getting it wrong, you know?
Right.
That was my trick.
There kinda there is.
Yeah, I mean, he's from D.C.
Oh, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Yes.
Blocks. I guess
With
I should've known
Texas.
They did kind of give it away.
arms, you know?
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll do this one. Josh Allen.
But that would have been Greg Oden's year then, for what it's worth. Because they were the same freshmen the same year.
Correct.
Over the weekend, Josh Allen became, through his first 6 seasons, he now has the most combined passing and rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 205.
Most combined passing and rushing touchdowns over the first 6 seasons.
Over their first 6 seasons. Yeah, Cam Newton is in the top 5 here. Let's do the top 7. Yeah, we'll do top 7.
So that includes Josh Allen. So we have
Yes,
Josh
you have-
Allen, Cam Newton. We need 5 more.
Correct.
First 6 years, you said?
The first 6
Vic.
seasons.
Yeah.
Not
I
Michael
wondered. They
Vick.
probably just didn't throw that many. What about McNabb?
Not McNabb.
Culpepper?
Culpepper is just outside the top 7.
Russ.
Russ is 6th. 177 combined.
6 seasons.
I'll say Mahomes, despite the fact that he threw for all of them.
Mahomes is who
Honestly,
Josh Allen
Jalen
just
Hurts
passed.
is already on the list.
Jalen Hurts is not on the list yet.
Probably pretty close.
He's in because he's in year what 5?
He already has 35 rushing touchdowns.
They all have to be modern.
There is
Randall Cunningham, maybe?
One not modern.
One
not
that's
like
Steve Young or Randall Cunningham.
Well, Steve
No,
Young
not
didn't play.
First 6 seasons, I guess that's true, but I don't know if it's starting or just
neither Cunningham nor Steve Young.
Brunell.
Not Brunell.
He was pretty good.
He was good, but I don't
He had that one insane touchdown. Remember, he like
He did. They
yeah,
did have
you know?
that. You're right.
It's in my head.
How about
Elway was fast, I guess.
Elway was
Not
Elway,
Elway.
sure.
Not Elway.
Stabler.
No, not
It was
Kenny.
always Ken Stabler. Every time we did one of these things, it was Steve Young. Ken Stabler and Steve Young
You
were
don't remember
always the
Steve
two
Young,
that I left off these lists. Aaron Rodgers didn't play, so it's
Oh,
not Aaron
McNair.
Rodgers.
No, not McNair.
Really? He was good.
I don't know how it counts because he was in Warren Moon.
No, not Warren Moon either.
Did Marino just throw for so many?
Marino did
that's
throw
the
for
thing.
so many. 199 through his first 6 seasons. So he is third on the list behind Mahomes and Allen.
Is Montana?
No, not Montana. Marino was the only non.
that's
like,
the only.
Yeah.
I mean, Manning was awful as a rookie year, but he rebounded quick.
did.
So Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning rounds out the top 7.
Yeah, we spent too much time thinking about guys that would also run.
One more, fourth on the list.
How does it work? How does this
Wait,
tidbit
we got-
work these days?
Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
what?
we need one more.
I
We
thought
do
you were
need
saying
one
it's another trivia, another like question.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, one more on the list.
Fourth on the list.
Yes.
Kurt Warner.
Not Kurt Warner.
Was this person mobile?
He,
Nah,
yeah.
I don't need to know.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
fine. It was cheating.
That's a really weird
he was
way of
kind of
saying.
like sneaky.
Mahomes.
Ran well. Not Mahomes. Mahomes was second.
It's Ben Roethlisberger.
It is not Ben.
He didn't throw for that many touchdowns his first couple of years.
Ben was at 139 through his first. 6.
He ran well. He ran sneaky well.
Yeah, like he wasn't really known, but like when
So
he
he's
took off,
white?
it was like, yeah, yes, yes, he is.
Sneaky
But
athletic.
I'm
okay.
still.
Um,
Took off. He would. I'm gonna end up disputing this when we find out who it is. I'm gonna end
That
up
he didn't
feeling
run
like
well?
I was thrown off by
Tom Brady.
this answer. All right, we gotta go. It's a 12.
He another Colts quarterback.
Andrew Luck.
Uh,
You know what?
Andrew ran
Actually,
well.
you
He
know what
did
he
run well,
did.
yeah.
I'm mad now
Yeah, he
because
did.
that was actually you could not have helped us more.
He only played
with
6
that.
seasons, probably.
God damn. All right, very good.
Yeah, you
That's
might be
Tipper.
right.
Tubular is brought to you by Superbook Sports.
He played exactly 6 seasons. Yeah.
There you go.
How about that?
And only 7 games in one of them.
How about that? Of course, we're going to talk about the big college basketball game coming up a little bit later on today. And if you want to get in on it, if you want to get a little action on the Maui event that's not actually in Maui, go to superbook.com, download the Superbook app, use the code GlennClark23 when you sign up, and you will receive up to $250 in a same-day first bet match, win or lose. Again, the code is GlennClark23. Right now, Purdue a 3-point favorite against Marquette, despite what Marquette has done the last couple of nights. So, you feel something about just being Marquette's tournament? Get in. Use the code GlennClark23. You get a same-day first bet match up to $250, win or lose. Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Morgan is in action against Chicago State right now on Flow Hoops. Mount St. Mary's takes on American at 4:30 on ESPN+. As we mentioned, the big one, of course, is the Maui Final, which is on ESPN at 5 o'clock. Do your Sal Palantonio.
Sal Palantonio, ESPN.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Purdue, Mark. What are the other greatest hits that I should have you do while you're here?
You tell me. I
don't know. I
It's
don't
blacked
know.
out every morning.
Tell me, who is the Josh Gordon's the greatest receiver in football history?
Up there. He's up there.
The Browns are going to win 6 games.
He should maybe be signed by the Chargers, the Chiefs.
You know what?
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be hard pressed to imagine it being worse. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock on ESPN, Purdue and Marquette for that. All the rest of the college basketball, and there's lots of it. Go to GlennClarkRadio.com. Wizards Hornets tonight at 7, Monumental 2. Monumental's got Sabres Capitals at 7, TNT Bruins Panthers at 7, Golden Knights Stars at 9:30. ESPN has Bucks Celtics at 7:30, Warriors Suns at 10 o'clock. TBS for AEW Dynamite at 8. Anything non-sports wise?
Yeah, Wednesday, big one. Survivor, of course, tonight. It is also the Thanksgiving special of SNL.
Oh,
on
I do
NBC.
love that one.
And then Fallon's going to have Keenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell tonight because there's a Good Burger.
It's going to suck.
There's a Good Burger 2.
It's going to suck. I can't watch
But
it.
the first one kind of sucked, right? Like, that's
It
kind of the
did,
thing,
but
right?
you were a kid, and
I
so
know.
it didn't matter that it sucked.
Lil Rel Howery is in Good Burger 2.
I do love Lil Rel Howery.
It's on Paramount Plus, which
I only just found out I have that.
Oh, yeah? Why?
I don't know.
What were you diving in on?
Not exactly sure.
Rob Gronkowski is apparently in Good Burger 2 as well. I don't know.
Of course,
I could
that
see
sounds
that.
right.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's about right.
Got to break in somehow, you know?
Giamatti will be on Seth Meyers and the Melissa McCarthy Christmas movie.
What's
Genie.
the Giamatti movie that we're supposed to?
The Holdovers.
Holdovers. I
Supposed to
gotta
be good.
watch that.
Yes, I need to watch it.
I haven't seen any of the popular movies recently. I'm kind of slacking.
And then on Apple TV Plus.
What else? What else?
Oppenheimer. I didn't see that.
You didn't see Oppenheimer?
I know. I'm really messing
It's
up.
about you.
No, it's helped people know my name, I feel like. I don't have to spell my name all the way anymore. Just
Nice.
T's instead of P's.
Did you see Barbie?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
see it.
man.
I haven't seen Flower Moon. I haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen Flower Moon yet.
I'm just slacking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't go to the movie theaters. But my favorite contribution to the show of all time is the fake headline "Father leaves on high note."
God, that was a great moment in show history. We used to do Mad Libs with finish this. It was the headline content. I tried to do that a couple times
Yeah.
at Griffin, and one,
It didn't work? It didn't work?
I don't remember, but Kyle said, "Father leaves on a high note," and we just concocted an idea of like a dad who was planning on leaving his family, but boy, this last day together, we're gonna go to the fair. We're gonna.
And it would be
that one was good.
I really wanted to have it be in a movie and some sort of just cut scene where they're like throwing newspapers out on the front doorsteps, and it's the front headline on
It's
the
wonderful.
newspaper.
Father leaves on a high note.
So on Apple TV Plus, Hannah Waddingham is doing a Christmas special.
Waddingham, I believe.
That's what I said.
You said
Waddingham.
Everybody's doing a
I said
Christmas
Waddingham. But it looks pretty good.
Aren't you working on a Christmas
Literally.
special?
That's all I have going for me right now.
Phil Dunster is like singing songs in it. With
He's
her.
been working. You know,
Juno Temple, I believe, is
you
gonna
might
be
have
in
been
it.
you might have been able to hook me.
Yeah.
Kyle's been working on O Tannenbaum for weeks.
The Squid Game, the reality
You said
show.
that's Wednesday though.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Tonight.
They're doing a Christmas special tonight.
Yeah. Well, Christmas
The
season
day
started
before
I don't know if
Thanksgiving.
Christmas season started 21 days
It's
ago.
one thing
Kyle.
for marketing purposes.
21 days ago.
It's one
is when-
thing
no,
for marketing.
They're 3 weeks
purposes.
late on this.
Let's maybe wait 2
What
days.
All right, we gotta go. I have to finish editing the show to send it to 105.7.
Oh, the Squid Game is the reality show is coming out today on Netflix.
That's gonna be a no from
and
me.
then of
dog.
course the Thanksgiving Day parade tomorrow morning.
Yes,
at 9
obviously.
a.m.
And then the 3 football games tomorrow: Fox for Packers Lions at 12:30, CBS Commanders Cowboys at 4:30, NBC for 49ers Seahawks at 8:20. Of course, Calvert Hall Loyola tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on ABC2. And everything else will get posted tomorrow morning for Tubular. We will not be here, but again, Reed and I will be together tomorrow morning, 6 to 9 on 105.7 The Fan. All right, Kyle, love you, buddy. Appreciate
Love you
coming
too.
in. Been too long. Let's do it again, all right?
Yeah.
Thanks, pal. Thanks today to Kyle. Thanks to Mike Florio. Thanks to Cordell Woodland. We'll get all that up. And the Tyus Bowser Show in the greatest hits section of the
Oh my God.
Archive.
you know what? I'm glad we had missed that. All right. Tomorrow, no show. Friday, we will be doing a show. Rodney Peete is going to join us. Former NFL quarterback, now a host on 570 out in Los Angeles. We will preview the Chargers with him. KZ will join us. We will make picks, and we'll get you segments number 2 and 3 of the Tyus Bowser Show with Pat Ricard on Friday. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including our friends at Live Casino and Hotel, Mother's North Grill, AJ Michaels, Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, Costa Sin, Superbook Sports, Harford County, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Thanks to Kyle at K. Ottenheimer. Follow us at Glenn Clark Radio, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Have a great Wednesday night. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. Go Morgan. Go. I think Maryland women are playing tomorrow. Go them. Duke sucks.
See you guys.